pull up a chair. This is Off the Back Porch. Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer is brought to you in part by Country Village Sporting Goods. Everything you need to get in the woods, the water, or to the camp is at Country Village Sporting Goods. Jason Hardy State Farm. Like a good neighbor, Jason Hardy at State Farm is there. And Larry's Pizza in El Dorado, home of the Double Pizza Parade.
20 plus years of bringing you the most important and latest information with local happenings, news, sports, opinions, and probably an attempt at humor. Also brought to you in part by Davis Farms Country Market. For farm to table fresh, it's Davis Farms Country Market. Cook's Body Shop. Chances are it will happen. And when it does, look to Cook's. Murphy Arts District. For the latest information on concerts and events, go to eldomad.com.
Recorded live from Main Street Pizza in historic, beautiful downtown El Dorado, Arkansas. With a history of being the voices you trust. This is Off the Back Porch with Boomer and Sandy. Or Sandy and Boomer. Or two old guys you've known for a long time, whatever. And now your hosts, Troy, Boomer, Barrios, and B.A. Sandy Sanford.
Hey, and welcome to another edition of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, and our special guest this week, David Lee. David, thank you for being here with us.
You bet.
Anything going on in your life?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I've been tent camping recently.
We had a big bonfire.
Yeah, I saw that.
A couple of weeks ago.
My wife told me, and I told him this already, but my wife told me before I left the house, she said, you tell David, number one, we love them.
Yeah.
And we're praying for them.
Yeah.
And if we find out they needed something and didn't tell us, we're going to be mad.
Yeah. and most of the time, if you just bring something,
Yeah.
you don't have to wait to ask. Just if you know David and his family, and they everything's gone. David and I were talking about it.
Yeah.
You got to get everything: spoons and knives and forks and everything. Yeah,
Everything.
So, chargers. Where's my charger? Oh, right, it burned up in
It burned
the
up in the
house.
house. That's
Yeah.
right.
Right.
I was 11, and our house burnt down 2 days after Christmas, 1982.
Did it burn up your Christmas presents?
Yes,
Oh
everything.
my,
Everything.
Sandy!
I mean,
I'm so-
yeah. Wonder where I get that Gen X trauma from.
Oh
Hey,
my Lord!
Boomer, I noticed David has a new iPhone 17. I have a new iPhone 17. What is yours? A flip
It's
phone?
12, I believe.
A jitterbug?
It's a jitterbug.
12.
Well, you know the one where you can get the phone and it when you say something it just writes it in big letters. That's what I'm gonna get. I want to get one of those. Hey, Grandpa, I played first base this weekend.
Yeah. I had an iPhone 11. It was 6+ years old.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I got it the day that His Royal Highness was born.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's the same age as him.
Yeah.
And it just got to where it wouldn't charge. I mean,
Yeah.
plugging it in sure didn't work. So I had one of those that you could lay it on.
Yeah.
But even then, it would do partial. It would, and then
It
wake
had
up the
that-
next morning and be 31%.
It had that memory in it. You can just get it to
yeah.
And Fro, when I left a while ago, she says, "Don't forget to order us a pizza for supper, and don't call me because my phone's froze." I said, "Froze?" She goes, "It won't turn off, it won't turn on. It's froze."
It's froze.
I said, "Well, you just got too many things on it." Something
See, I
wrong.
don't have that
I saw
problem
her
with my
last
phone.
night, by the way.
Yeah, she had that reception
For Tanya Allen.
For Tanya Allen at Martha's on the Square. And she said she had to turn the lights out. Said, y'all were having so much fun.
Yeah.
She said, everybody out, I'm turning the lights out.
She did.
That's what I have to do with the gyms after basketball.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to go. And
You gotta
they
go.
don't go. So I'm like, one
Okay.
light at a time. Okay. When it gets dark, you're going to go.
Yeah, that's
So
4
you
a.m.
have
at the club.
My thing is where was she in such a hurry to go?
Home, baby, home.
Why can't she just spend a little time with us? We like her.
She don't want to stay up there. Hey, let me tell you, you know Jim Moore?
I do know Jim Moore.
We had this is going to make sense in a minute, but we had a Christmas party at Jim Moore's house before he sold the big one. And he said, look, y'all can stay as long as you want, but at 9 o'clock, I'm in my boxers. He said, I just
I'll
want
be
to
in
let
my
you know.
gown.
I'm going to be in my, like you say about me, I'm going to be in my gown at 9 o'clock. So it was 5 to 9. Everybody's, nobody's paying attention to us. Jim says, come here. So I followed him back in his bedroom. He says, I'm going to put these on, but I'm going to put them over my swim trunks. He said, I'm going to walk out with a wife beater knees. He said, and you make a big deal out of it.
That's Jim too.
That's
Jim.
Brother, man, they were scurrying. Oh, let me get my purse. I said, no, you stay. You stay. I'm just going to sit here in this recliner and
Don't mind
scratch
me.
a little bit.
That's right. Don't mind me.
Yeah, I told you I got in trouble as a kid because we went to a friend of my dad's house, and he's like, "Y'all come in and make yourself at home." I said, "Hey, Dad, you catch that? You can get in your drawers and scratch yourself." He didn't find the humor in that.
So flashback years and years ago. My oldest grandson, junior in college now. At the time, he's probably 4, maybe 3. Get a call from his
Cajun.
mom.
4, maybe 3.
Maybe 3. 4, 3 miles down Lost Bayou. Anyway, Amy called. She said, Troy said, I got to ask you a question. She said, you know, Eric's over there in Iraq. I said, yeah, I know. She said, when do little boys quit holding themselves? I said, as soon as that happens with me, I'll let you know.
I'll let you know. That's
exactly.
In fact, if I'm on, she called and I'm in my recliner, what do you do? Let it go, son.
One hand on the remote.
That's right.
Yeah. No, and don't touch that thermostat.
Yeah, don't
No.
touch.
That's the 3 things men want.
Yeah.
We want the thermostat, the remote,
Yes.
and the other thing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, and listen, ladies, if you had one, you'd do the same. You'd do the same.
That's why they rub their eyes in the morning.
Well, I was going in for surgery recently, and they said, all right, they're reading the paper, said, you know why you're here? I said, I know why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, tell us.
And they're like, well, we need to confirm it. So if you'll tell us, I said, yeah, I'm breast augmentation. Give me something to play with. And that nurse was looking at that paper. She said, I really hope you're joking. And I said, I am.
But if you want to, go ahead.
Hey, but if y'all
That's
want
right.
to give me a pair.
That's right.
Well, that guy says, his wife, she said, let me play with them. And she says, honey, not now. He goes, look, they are mine. I paid for them. So anyway, that's that old joke about, the augmentation.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But back on the iPhones, I had an iPhone 11 that it was just on its last leg.
Yeah.
And so I just asked Verizon one day, what will you give me for it? Now, it was an 11 Pro, and it had the biggest memory that was available at the time. And they said, we will give you $1,200. I was like, sold.
Daggum.
So
But the new one cost what?
$1,200.
Oh, so they flipped you?
Yep, I just got it. I got the 17 Pro with the huge
bad.
memory for free.
You should
I
go
mean,
to
try
Verizon. You
that.
should go to
I got a
Verizon.
twofer. Martha and I can go in, and hers is cracked and obviously locked right now. So
I didn't take mine to them. I did it online,
oh, okay.
and they didn't ask for a picture of it, or they were able to look up what it was, and I sent it to them. I got a message back saying we've received it. I didn't got one back saying, "Hey, Tony Soprano, you
Yeah.
pulled one over on us here." So if Verizon's watching, I apologize. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do?
We did everything we could do.
Yeah.
There was nothing we could do.
That's
right. That's right.
Anyway.
So, David, seriously, and for those who may not know,
Not catch what happened.
David and his wife Michelle, their home burnt to the ground, and I mean, just
I watched it on Facebook
I
Live.
did too. I did too. Heartbreaking, and the part of me wanted to reach out to him right then, but I'm
Yeah.
like, man, leave the guy
Leave him
alone.
alone.
He knows that I care.
That we go-
He
right.
knows that I will do anything and everything for him, and so I'm not. I wasn't going to bother him,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, man, what caused the fire?
They're saying it's electrical issues. So, don't know. I got a call from Channing, and I was already on my way home. And she said all I heard was house was on fire, and she was hysterical. And we live off of Lisbon Road, and when I turned right off 82 onto Lisbon,
You could see it.
I saw the smoke, and I was like, but I didn't know if anybody was in the house. I didn't understand anything. But anyways, thankfully when we got there, the kids were all out. Of course, it was chaotic. Dogs were out. Everybody was out, and I looked up at the top of the roof. The carport was just gone. Joshua's room was back in that corner too. It was gone.
Close to that
Sorry
mic.
about that. I'm sorry. And there was smoke coming out of the very top.
Yeah.
And the shingles were
It was
melting.
engulfed by then.
And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
it's in the attic.
It's not going to happen. You're not going to save that.
Says toast.
That's
Yeah.
sad.
So we sat there and watched it burn down, and we had Oh my gosh, there were so many people that showed up out there that night, from our church, from Emmanuel, I mean, friends, work, everybody, and we just needs were like being met immediately. This community is just amazing. On some of the things, man. It was quite the, and I'm not one to like accepting gifts.
I got you.
Yeah.
So it was really hard, but at the same time, I've learned to do that in life. You don't want to take people's blessings away. And
That's
because we got ladies just waiting to make a casserole.
That's right. That's right.
Waiting for a casserole.
But I mean, at the end of the day, God's really revealing Himself through this.
Yeah.
And I have a big testimony. I've told Cody at Westside that one day I need the mic, so I can share it.
Good.
And there's been a lot of things that have been answered recently.
Praise Him.
So
Praise to Him.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but at the end of the day, everything's going good. I just worry about the kids, honestly, especially my youngest. She's probably having the hardest time right now because that girl she's having a hard time understanding it. Well, she understands and she doesn't like it, the fact that she's lost everything. So little bitty things like that, watching them struggle, and they try to be strong and try to think about mom and dad because they don't want to ask for anything. You know what I mean? They're thinking about us more than them, which again, like
that. That was me. I was 11.
Yeah.
Our house burnt down, and I think I was the most easily pleased child.
Yeah.
For about 6 months.
Yeah.
I didn't say. Ours was arson. So,
goodness gracious.
And I'm not going to get into what happened there, but it was arson, and so immediately my dad was investigated. He obviously was not. He was found not to be the arsonist, but it held us up. That arson investigation, while it was going on, insurance was saying, "We're not paying for anything."
No, not till they find out.
And so it was a situation where Daddy still have to make a house note on a house that's burnt down.
Yeah, you still got to pay for it. You got a mortgage.
Because
right.
insurance company's not willing to deal right now. But we're living in a hotel. And
not paying for that either.
No, they're not paying for anything.
Yeah.
Every meal was eaten out. Yeah. And I mean, it was a tough time.
Yeah.
And of course it was the 80s, and it was not a good time for the oil business. And so we were struggling. Yeah. And but finally 6-7 months later, I think we finally got it all squared away, and we ended up finally moving into a house. But it was a traumatic time. It was traumatic for us, as for me as a kid, because again, I lost everything.
Yeah.
I tell you what I was missed more than anything.
Your
all of Daddy's bowling trophies and all of my baseball trophies.
Yeah.
I knew I would never have as many baseball trophies as he had bowling trophies. Okay, but I had taken a milk jug, and back then that's when they first started putting milk in jugs. And so I cut the top out of it where I just had the handle, and I had all of his patches, his 750s, his 800, his 900 patch, all of his Perfect Game 300 patches. I had them all in that little milk jug set up there by the trophies, and my guns. I had a little shotgun, my first shotgun. It was a little snake charmer, 410. All of Daddy's guns. Yeah. Those are the things that everything
have meaning.
Clothes, bed, the posters on the wall, that kind of stuff. That didn't bother me. But the stuff that was literally irreplaceable, those patches and those, and I wasn't as upset about my trophies as I was Daddy's.
Yeah.
Because there was just so freaking many of them. And some of them were huge.
Those tall ones, yeah.
And then also he had, for whatever reason back then, he collected matches. Matchbooks.
Yeah, from different places that had their.
I remember that.
Everybody used to collect
and he had a big fishbowl just absolutely full of them. And no, Greg Harrison, he's busy right now. He can't take a call from you. But those are the things, and I'm sure as your kids get the opportunity to think back, that's the stuff that they're going to miss.
Yeah.
And then also, knowing that someone willfully burnt down our house, it was scary to me for a little while when we got to our new house. Well, what if they're just waiting for us to be in this new house?
And still mad at us or whatever.
But I kind of knew back then what had happened, and and Daddy didn't have the best reputation with married women.
I got you.
And so I was pretty sure that's what that was about.
When you said it, I said, well, I bet you that's what it's about.
You know,
and you and I are good friends, but we have a very large age gap. So your father was more my generation.
Yeah, he was 3 years older than you.
He was a baby boomer. But then our parents, mother was talking about, they had always talked about having to go to school with no shoes on.
Oh yeah.
And that, oh sure. And Mama said, said my brother and I got up and milked cows and delivered the milk before we went to school. She said, and then I had to walk 2 miles to the bus. I said, well, Mama, you delivered the milk in town. Why didn't you just stay there? She said, I was all dirty. But anyway, she said that she would get a dress a year that for church and some shoes, and then everything else you had, you didn't wear that just for Sunday. And she said their house caught on fire, and she ran back in.
Wow.
And got her
dress,
got her shoes, and her one dress. And we can't relate to that.
No,
we said
can't
we lose
fathom
everything.
That. Yeah.
But when she said everything, that was all she had.
Yeah, I mean, your wife owns a store where they sell clothes.
Clothes.
She has multiples of clothes. And your mom ran back into a burning building.
She ran back into a burn, and she said the thing that beyond that was the piano, because she loved to play the piano, and it burnt their piano up. But anyway.
Willie Nelson one time ran back into his house to save a bag of weed.
I believe it.
No, it's true.
But he didn't have to.
He didn't have
His
to.
weed connect was,
but
he's got a good weed connect.
I'm guessing maybe he just didn't have any more. Right then, and he's like, "Man, my house is on fire. Let me run and get my stash real quick,
right.
or just stand by it."
Yeah, Willie. So again. I think everyone knows the story. I had a 90-something-year-old DJ who badmouthed Willie Nelson on the radio, and he called her live on the air one day, and he was like, "It broke my heart to hear you don't like me." She said, "Well, I don't."
She still wouldn't give it up, would she?
And he said, "Every time I'm through this part of the state, I listen to your show." And she said, "Well, good."
But I still don't like
He said, "Well, I'm coming to the radio station." She said, "I get off at 5.
You better be here.
She said it right on the air. "I get off at 5.
Yeah, go.
But they came, didn't they?
They did. The Honeysuckle Rose pulled up, and here came Willie and his sister and his road manager.
This is
in Center, Texas.
Yeah.
And they came in, and he sang to her on the air, and she acted like she didn't like it.
But she did.
Oh,
She
she
did.
ate it
Is that
up.
the one that she wanted you to vote on her horses?
Yes. Maddie Dillinger was her name. And again, Maddie was in her 90s. And she walks in she was an old newspaper lady. And she had this gossip show. And that's purely all it was gossip. I mean, they get, "Well, did y'all hear about the preacher over at such and such? Or him and the song leader run off together." I mean, just gossip. She's also the only person I ever heard use the N-word on the air.
Oh, goodness.
And
On the air?
On the air. And I nearly died in my office. I'm like, if they find me dead, this is why.
Yep.
Oh, my word.
But no one called. They didn't.
She used it in an endearing way.
Yes.
She said, this very kind in lady.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah. See, my grandmother would do stuff like that. And she spoke French. And it was, well, I can't say it in French either.
Yeah, you don't want to say that either. Is it that word you call me all the time?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I'll definitely have to edit that out. JW, I don't need to edit that part out. By the way, folks, this week, first time ever, Boomer, this is episode 46.
I know it was pretty close.
And we have a real producer.
Yeah, we got a producer.
That's why
JW.
That's why you're seeing it look like it's supposed to look instead of just like
he's switching back and forth on cameras.
looking like we're doing it off of a iPhone.
Else a dude over there holding up an iPhone.
Yeah.
Hey, we did a parade like that one time.
We sure did, man. I'm still pissed about that.
It was colder than a well digger's cap, brother. And Sandy held up. We had all the equipment. It just didn't work that night.
Didn't work.
And well, we won't go into it.
No.
But he held that iPhone up, and I'm shoving my hands down in my pockets as far as they'll go. And he was like an icicle by the and I never offered once to do it because I just didn't want to suffer like that.
Right. Boomer said, "Hey, this is your baby."
Yeah, it's your stuff that didn't work.
Yes, exactly.
That was bad. But hey, how about we talk about the top TV shows for Gen X when we were kids.
Oh, is that what the 80s?
I know you're not. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you're not a Gen Xer, but you're close. We
Gen
adopt
X.
you in.
That's
you know,
right.
they've segregated us up out of the baby boomers. It's the
Jones generation. Yeah.
And it's post where they were in New York in the big concert. Help me out here.
Post Woodstock.
Yeah, the Woodstock. That
Yeah.
one. See, we did the same stuff they did though.
But wasn't Woodstock like 67?
Well, I mean, that's when we came of age.
Oh, coming of age. I got you. Okay.
We were born from. It picks up from 54 to 64 is what they're calling the Jones. And as soon as they started talking about it, I said, well, I relate to all that now. So anyway.
Yeah.
Your
Bobby
kids
Jones.
get tired of you talking about Gen X when you were a kid growing up.
Oh, yes.
Mine do.
Yeah.
Mine do too. They're like,
They don't wanna hear-
dear God, Dad.
oh, I'll get tired.
Gen
I think y'all
X.
just don't have any
Yeah.
idea.
Gen X. I'm like,
Yeah,
listen,
how many times have we got to hear about a Rolodex and
Yeah,
stuff?
listen, y'all don't know us. And it's like I said last week, in a
Latchkey
mathematical equation, X is an unknown factor.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know us.
There is
don't-
no video evidence of when we were
Thank
kids.
you. That's a good thing.
That's right.
It is a good thing.
That's
That's
right.
it.
None.
Yeah, there's no digital trail
Nothing.
to find.
Nothing.
No. Thank God.
That's right.
So this is according to Pioneer Woman. You know,
Pioneer Woman.
Y'all know who that lady is? The
the
Pioneer
cook
Woman,
lady?
the cooking lady.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is off her website. Top Gen X TV shows, top 20. Number 20, Facts of Life.
Yeah.
I can see that being
Yeah.
the top 20. 19, Cagney and Lacey. Number 18, Murder, She Wrote. We could never watch Murder, She Wrote.
That was the woman, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we had to get home from church in time, and our preacher was long-winded, so we never got home from church
was
in
a
time.
Sunday night thing?
Yeah. Number 17, WKRP in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, Lonnie.
Yeah.
Anderson.
I remember watching it. I was a little young to get a lot of it, but I always liked Andy. I guess I don't remember what he was. He was the station manager or whatever, but I
Yeah.
liked Andy.
Les Nessman.
Yeah, Les Nessman, the classic news guy.
Yeah,
Man.
he was-
and a lot of them were like that.
They were, and they were serious about it, and they were serious all the time.
Yeah. Number 16, Who's the Boss? I loved that
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
because I was in love with that little girl, Alyssa Milano.
Oh,
Yeah.
Alyssa Milano. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Who's the Boss had the little twins in it.
No.
No,
That
that's
was, Anyway, it'll be on there.
yeah, it'll
Hopefully.
be on there.
Number 15, Knight Rider. I watched Knight Rider some.
It was about a car.
Yeah, Kit
Yeah,
and
Kit.
David Hasselhoff. Number 14 is way too high on the list. This should be down near 1 or 2. Three's Company. I was a
You didn't
huge.
like it?
I loved it. No, I'm saying it should be.
Oh, your essay is down.
It should
Okay,
be down.
yeah.
It should be
Yeah, Three's
number
Company
1 and
was
number
wonderful,
2.
man. That was great.
I loved it. MacGyver.
MacGyver. Yeah.
You know,
well,
number
that's-
13.
And that's the statement we use today, a slang. He's
Yeah.
going to MacGyver it.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, I read one time when I was a kid that everything he does on the show is feasible.
Okay. Yeah.
That he would make stuff out of whatever,
Yeah.
and that it was feasible. Well, a few years ago, I would just come across, and there was a group, and it wasn't Mythbusters, but it was like that. They went in and they went to every episode, and they tried to do what he did.
Oh.
And so there was one in particular that they said they were half debunking, and there was one where he had taken the like the Freon line out of a refrigerator,
Yeah.
and used it to freeze a lock.
Okay.
And they said, you can do that.
Yeah.
But there's not enough Freon in that refrigerator
To have it done.
to do it.
To get it.
And so they recreated it, and it would have been like, you would have had to have enough Freon for like 134 refrigerators
okay.
to do it.
So not feasible.
But it was feasible. It's just very unlikely.
Yeah, not gonna happen there.
But they tested. I mean, every single one of them. They were like, it's doable, it's feasible. And then there was the one that they said,
Maybe not.
maybe not. Let's see. Number 12, Growing Pains. Love Growing Pains.
Yeah.
And Kirk Cameron, of course. Who's still in the spotlight today. Number 11, one I never cared for, and that was Married with Children.
Yeah.
I didn't like. Ow.
Yeah. And Al was such a goof, a shoe salesman.
Yeah.
It was, it was classic stuff that just.
But what they did was they typified that disconnected dad. He was disconnected with the family, disconnected with the kids, and I didn't
watch that much.
experience that growing up. My dad was involved in everything, including the first time I dipped snuff and the first time I drank beer. He was responsible for both of those. Number 10, Alf.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife and I were talking about it earlier. She's like, I loved Alf.
What did Alf eat? Cats?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, cats. Number 9, Hill Street Blues. I never got into Hill
I
Street
didn't watch
Blues.
Hill Street Blues.
Number 8, another one I never got into was the A-Team. I wasn't a big A-Team fan.
No.
Number 7, I liked
Pity the fool.
Family Ties. Michael J. Fox, who played Alex Keaton.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because Michael J. Fox in that sitcom was a staunch conservative.
He was.
And his family were flaming liberals.
libs.
You know, and it was so funny. You know, his dad ran like the PBS station in town or whatever.
And he went to school with a briefcase.
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
Wore a suit all the time, right? Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, they had they had a child later in life in the show, and Alex brought him under his wing and made him a Reaganite. You know?
He wore a little tie.
Had that kid.
I remember one episode where the kid comes running in the room. He says, "Alex, gold just went to $400."
Oh man.
Let's see, number 6, Dallas.
Yeah, I like Dallas.
Yeah. And I could see that being the top 10
Oh,
for sure.
yeah.
You know, who
Yeah.
shot JR.
Who shot JR.
And,
That's the number one cliffhanger, I believe, of all time.
of all time, yeah. The
Well, that was back when you only had 3 channels, too.
That's
and maybe
correct.
TBS or something.
That's right.
Yeah. So, matter of fact, Grant Merrill, my partner who was here earlier this week for the debate, he was talking. He said, "You remember the series where JR drafted or started up the draft Cliff Barnes for governor?" And I do, you know, he started this whole, it seemed like a grassroots movement of, you know, everybody wanted Cliff Barnes to run for governor because he wanted Cliff off the Oil and Gas Commission.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then, of course, Cliff does run and gets his butt handed to him. But number 5, Night Court. I remember Night Court. I liked it.
Good.
There's a new version of that.
It was funny. Is there?
Yeah.
Number 4, it had a lot to do with the fashion sense and all of the 80s. The fashion sense followed this show. I never really got into it, but it was Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was into that.
Yeah.
That look.
number 3,
Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Norm!
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I think it was the princess when she was a baby. If we're watching Cheers, she would come out of a dead sleep to sit up and look at the TV.
Oh, yeah.
Because she would hear that, where everybody knows you.
Yeah.
And she'd sit up and look at the TV, you know, out of a dead sleep. Number 2, The Wonder Years.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Winnie.
Yeah.
Man, Winnie Cooper. If you
Winnie
didn't have a
Cooper.
crush on Winnie Cooper as a kid, yeah.
And I remember watching that in the final episode. I cried on, man. It was.
I probably did too.
He was flashing back, and
Yeah.
he'd move. He was an adult now, and it was
Yeah.
heart wrenching.
Number 1, according to PioneerWoman.com, and that is The Golden Girls.
Wow.
I like The Golden Girls. I wouldn't have made them number 1.
No.
Cheers,
Cheers probably
probably.
number 1.
But hey, y'all missed some.
They did.
Yeah. Different Strokes. So you have Facts of Life, a
Yeah.
spinoff
Of
of
Different
Different Strokes.
That's right.
What you talking about, Willis?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a classic line as a kid. What you talking about, Willis? How about Boy Meets World?
Yeah, that's a good
Corey
one.
and Topanga?
Yeah.
That's a love story, man.
Yeah.
That's
right.
And by the way, if you didn't have a crush on Topanga,
Yeah, she was a
as
pretty little
kid,
girl, yeah.
she's still pretty.
Yes, she is. It was pretty adult.
Head of the Class. Do you remember Head of the Class? It was the guy who played Dr. Johnny Fever
yeah.
off of WKRP,
WKRP.
Howard Hessman. He was a teacher at a, man, that must be yours. He was a teacher at a like really advanced high school in Manhattan. And they had every walk of life in this high school class. And it was really good. Now, I remember the show being really liberal.
Yeah.
But there was one kid in the class who was a staunch conservative. You know, he was a Reaganite, but you know, there was Robin Givens. That's where she got her start. You know, before she.
What about JJ?
What's happening?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Was that a
JJ.
70s show or that was
must have
late?
been.
It was 70s. It may have spilled over into the 80s a little bit, but the Jeffersons.
Yeah. That's a spinoff of
George and Wheezy.
Wheezy.
Which then brings about All in the Family.
All in the Family.
Yeah.
You know, Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Here's the thing. You could not do Archie Bunker today.
Oh no.
Absolutely.
We have progressed.
No, we would
have
cancel.
progressed in the cancel culture. Wouldn't let you, make fun. Wouldn't let make you fun of.
They recently did something, an All in the Family remake, and they were so smart they had Woody Harrelson play the part. You're not going to cancel Woody Harrelson. I mean, he's liberal as they come. So, you know, But of course, so was Carol O'Connor, who played Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but no, you could not do that again.
So, my dad was still in on that. He remembered Archie Bunker, so that's
Probably
early
further
80s,
back,
Yeah.
What about Benson? You remember Benson?
Yes.
And then
the black
Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MASH.
Yep.
You know, I was never a big MASH fan. I saw the humor in it,
Yeah.
but I just wasn't a big MASH fan. Barney Miller.
That was a great. Was Taxi on there?
No, it was
No.
not. Fall Guy.
Fall Guy.
Remember Fall Guy?
Yeah.
God, we watched a lot of TV back then.
So here's what's funny. There was a link after that about the top 20 Gen X shows. When they asked those same people, what shows did you watch the most with your dad?
Yeah.
The answers changed tremendously.
Okay.
Number 10, Kojak.
Yeah.
Number 9, Taxi.
Yeah.
Number 8, Quincy.
Yeah.
Number 7, Soap. Remember Soap?
Soap was awesome.
The guy thought he could disappear.
Yeah.
Number 6, Charlie's Angels.
Okay. Yeah.
Of course.
Number
Farrah Fawcett,
5,
man.
The $6 Million Man.
Yes.
Number 4, Mutual of Omaha Wild Kingdom.
Yeah.
With Givens.
Number 3, Star Trek.
Yeah. That was a series. I forgot. Yeah.
Number 2, when asked what shows did you watch, Gen X, what shows did you watch with your
With your
dad the
dad.
most? Number 2, Hogan's Heroes.
Absolutely.
Number
And
1, All in
number
the Family.
1, Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Dad's. Yeah. They kept. Gunsmoke was from like the 50s and 60s.
But they watched Gunsmoke reruns.
Yeah.
with
That
the dad.
had to be right after school.
Yeah.
Gunsmoke at 4:30. Or,
You know, my grandfather on my mom's side, my mom's dad, when I would go and stay with him, he and my grandmother, they watched Perry Mason. They loved Perry Mason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I watched a bunch of Perry Masons back in the day.
My grandmother was born in 1898. So when we would go to her house, how your generation and my generation, the TV we turned it on in the morning and it just played all day. Well, their house, the TV was on a little stand and it was like this.
Yeah.
And when they wanted to watch TV, they'd roll it out from the closet somewhere and plug it in.
Plug it in.
And my grandfather, when they decided they were going to put the bathroom inside, he said, "I'm not going to do that in there in my house.
In the house?
I'm going to do that." He said, "You can put it in there. I'm not going to do it." But he did. He finally figured it leaves.
It leaves. That's
Anyway.
right.
So I have a question. Like, I don't know, maybe it's maybe this wasn't the 80s, but am I the only one that's thinking about Love Boat and Fantasy Island?
Right.
Yeah.
Saturday night, right? Wasn't that Saturday night?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Saturday night stuff.
And what about Green Acres? Is that? Was
Yeah,
That
was
would have been 60s
that was
and
70s.
70s.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were watching reruns. And
okay.
Andy Griffin, I thought
Yeah.
that would be on there watching with Dad because we still watch those Andy Griffins.
I don't watch Andy Griffith
But
episodes.
Love Boat and Fantasy Island, that was Saturday night or
Man, that was
Friday
like
night.
almost-
I don't remember what
it
night
was Saturday because those are ABC TV shows.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've said before, most families, they were Democrat or Republican, Coke or Pepsi, Ford or Chevy.
Yeah.
And also, you had a preferred network.
Yeah.
So in my house, it was ABC.
ABC.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, we very rarely ever watched NBC at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was
CBS.
CBS some.
It was Jewish people in far right, far left. We had the big station that we received in Morgan City was a Baton Rouge station, and it was NBC, WBRZ in Baton Rouge. So that's all,
Yeah, well,
and really, a lot of times that's all we could pick up.
I was going to say, now a lot of times you watch whatever's available,
Yeah.
but I just, that was ABC shows, and yes, it was Saturday
Yeah.
night because Friday night was we would always start off with the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
And then we went over, and I think it was Dallas was next, and I don't remember what came on after Dallas.
At 9:00.
Yeah, I don't remember. I wanted to say Falcon Crest or something like
was
that.
something like that.
But
I couldn't
it wasn't
remember that.
Dynasty because Dynasty was a CBS show that came on like Wednesdays or Tuesdays or something. It came on in the middle of the week. So did Knots Landing.
I had some trauma in my early youth about TV, and it was all because of Sunday night church. So I've been really triggered by Sunday night church my whole life because we would miss two things. We would miss Wonderful World of Disney, Wide
Yes.
World, and Bonanza.
Yeah.
So we got there.
I loved
and
Bonanza.
And then there was also with the Coonskin Cup, Daniel Boone was on Sunday night. Oh man, I'd miss all those. And what little 8-year-old doesn't want to watch Bonanza and Daniel Boone?
And Daniel Boone, yeah.
You go back and look at those now, and most of them, when Hoss and Little Joe were riding up, it was on a sound stage.
Oh yeah, and
Everything-
obviously so.
In my little youth, it didn't seem like that.
They were out there on the range, on the Ponderosa.
On the Ponderosa.
Right, on the
Ponderosa.
Now the opening clip when they were all three riding horses, it was outside.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's like Clint Black did a video with Roy Rogers one time back in the early 90s. And when the video was over, they climb off their horses and it's a soundstage.
Yeah,
And
they just walk off.
The scene's going by.
it backs up. Yeah.
There's so many shows. That's why they say the 80s was the best.
Yeah,
Just
that's
go-
it. I mean,
I think last time we talked about music from the 80s, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the best. My kids get tired of me saying that, too.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get better than the 80s.
Yeah.
listen, if you could go back to any time in life, would you go back any further? I wouldn't.
Nope.
Because there were enough things in the 80s that made life a little more convenient. And like you said, there was no video evidence.
No proof
So,
of anything.
I mean, look, I remember being a little bitty kid and going to the store and buying beer and cigarettes for Daddy.
Yeah.
I mean, as a little kid.
Yeah.
I need some Benson and Hedges.
And this 6-pack
Benson
of Bud.
Hedges Light and this 6-pack of Bud Light. And they're like, okay, it'd be $6. And
Okay.
hand it to them. And I'm walking down the road with a beer and cigarettes, and as a kid. But my best friend as a kid named Ricky Allen lived across the street from me. He was all the time like, hey, you want to go to the store with me? And I'm like, yeah. And so we'd go to the store, and he would go in and buy cigarettes and beer and a bottle of Mad Dog and whatever.
For Dad.
For we're like 9 years, for his mom, we're like 9 years old or whatever at the time.
That's a different time in life.
It was. Now I will say this: back in Center, Texas, there used to be like a Last Chance liquor store way out on the edge of the county, and it was called JC's Liquor. And one of my really, really good friends, his dad owned it. And so my dad and I are in the truck one day, and Daddy had a lake house that was out past JC's Liquor, and you turn blah, blah, blah. So we pull in there, and he gets some beer or whatever, and he tells JC, he said, now listen, this is my boy Sandy. He said, I know you know him. He's like, yeah, I know Sandy. And he said, if he shows up here and he has my whole wallet, that means I gave it to him, you can sell him the beer. But if he shows up here without my wallet, don't sell him
It's
any
for
beer.
him. So you'd sneak the wallet out.
And JC's like, yes, sir, Mr. Buddy, I got you. Daddy didn't know I've been buying beer there for 2 years at that point.
He wasn't going to tell.
No.
Because he was the one selling it to you.
No, he wasn't going to say a word. Yes, sir, Mr. Buddy, I got you.
Got you.
And there was only one time in all those years where JC did not sell me beer. And I pulled up, and he got him to the window. He said, drive off now. And I did. I drove off. And I saw why.
Your daddy?
As soon as I pulled off and got up the highway, I mean, it wasn't a quarter mile. There was a state trooper sitting there.
Oh, man.
And I was like, I see now why he told me to drive off.
Give you a heads up.
Yeah. So let's take a quick break, guys. We will come back, and we'll be back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
The brand new deli is open at Davis Farms Country Market. Featuring boar's head cheese and meats. Try the turkey bacon ranch, the London broil roast beef, the club sandwich, or a fresh and crispy BLT. Check out their cranberry pecan chicken salad, not to mention fresh hot gumbo, the soup of the day, and more. Davis Farms Country Market, 4523 Junction City Highway, or call 870-639-1323.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30 plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
Country Village Sporting Goods has a little bit of everything you need to get you to the water, the woods, or to the camp. Coming soon, a new shipment of creek boats. Every year we sell out fast. Get yours ordered today. It seems like we're always unboxing the latest and greatest in lures and tackle. Come check out new colors, new styles, and the latest technology making rods lighter and reels easier to cast. Cruise through our vast selection of camo clothing, coveralls, overalls, boots, outerwear, and more. All at Country Village Sporting Goods, 965 Smackover Highway in El Dorado.
In a strong city, trust isn't a slogan, it's the foundation. That's why Ryan Wolf is running for city attorney. Ryan is a proud Navy veteran with real-world legal experience as a paralegal and a college instructor, committed to clear, consistent legal guidance that supports our city council, city departments, and every resident of El Dorado. Focused, fair, for El Dorado. Vote Ryan Wolf for city attorney. Paid for by the committee to elect Ryan Wolf.
I'm Dr. Steve Smart. I spent my career here in El Dorado, seeing daily the importance of a strong local hospital. I see neighbors having emergencies, families needing care, and seniors who depend on services close to home. Right now, rising costs are putting pressure on hospitals everywhere. That's why I support a 1/2 cent sales tax that creates dedicated funding for our hospital. Every dollar stays right here. Vote yes for the 1/2 cent sales tax. El Dorado deserves strong local health care.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer and our special guest, David Lee. And David, I'm assuming you had some stuff you wanted to talk about other than your house burning down.
That's right. You bet. Things are going good. I'm sorry. I'm used to this. I'm sorry, guys. So a lot of things going on at the club. Big thing that's coming up, though, that I'm excited about, we're working with the Chamber on, is the Next Gen Marketplace. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be on, of course, I don't have March 7th, I believe. Yep, March 7th at the club. It's free, and it's for youth that offer a service or they want to sell things. They can set up, and we'll provide a table and chairs. They can bring a tent and sell their goods, offer their services to people in the community. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it gives them a chance to know what it's like to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
To pitch your service or your goods or your wares.
That's right. So, hopefully we'll have some kids want to come out and participate in that. We're looking forward to it. So I know Channing will be there with her lemonade. So, yeah. And so it's I preach to the kiddos, my kiddos especially, like, hey, be thinking about working for yourself maybe one of these days, right? If you want to be a lawyer, then go to college and all that. If you want to go to college, great, but have that mindset of an entrepreneur.
Yes.
At least I try to instill that in them, because I think sometimes kids don't understand that they have that potential. Mm-hmm. Like, well, I can do what I want to do. I'm young, I got plenty of time, and I can do that. So I'm wanting to see some kiddos with that spirit out at the club.
And what is it called?
We call it the Next Gen Marketplace.
Okay.
So the Chamber and with Caitlin is working with me, and I'm excited about it. So hopefully we'll have some kiddos there. So March 7th, make sure you go to the club and support these kids and what they want to do, because if nobody shows up, then
they don't have anyone to sell
they
to.
need success when they
do
this.
How do they join? How do they sign up for it?
So they can go to the website, and it'll have, there should be a link on how to sign up. And again, it's free.
And what is the website?
It's eldoradokids.org. It's our Boys and Girls Club website. Thank you, Troy. And but yeah, so man, I need people to show up and support these kids.
Yeah, that'll be a great opportunity.
Yeah,
for them.
they need success.
They do,
because then they'll really catch fire once they have success when it comes to this. So that's something that I'm excited about.
Years ago, Troy and I were talking about something. I'm sure we were on the road to somewhere, we were fishing or something, and he said, I can make me a job. He said, and I remember that stuck out to me. I can make me a job, and I'm like, what does he mean? But then I realized, he's worked for himself several times in life, and it was the first time that I ever really thought I could do that too.
Yeah.
And it took me 20 years more to finally pull the trigger on it. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, Working for me is not easy because I'm a tough boss. I'm hard on me.
You are hard on you. You know and you brought this up. What started me in that was, do you remember the little looms you could get and make those pot holders with the looms? One summer, my mother bought one of those and bought the bags and stuff. And she said, we were at Grandma's house, and she said, start making these. And I talked to the guy at not Radio Shack, but another store like that. Anyway, we got permission to have a little shelf to put those on there.
Some on consignment?
Yeah, and they were selling them for like 50 cents a piece. You know, we're talking 62, 63. And son, they started selling them, and I says, people going to buy these and I'm going to get to keep the money? So Mama says, yeah, but now you're going to have to start paying for all these yarn that we're putting through the looms. And so, you know, I kind of lost interest when my uncle said, let's go fishing, let's go crabbing. We went crabbing. And Mama says, well, you got to keep making those. People are wanting them. I said, well, we got to go back to school, Mom. You know, turn into a job. But anyway, when I realized, you know, the kids that maybe do a lemonade stand and they realize I can do something and create something and then people will buy it. So that's a great opportunity to teach those kids. I'm glad y'all doing that.
My cousin Lewis, I guess he was probably about 13, and he talked his mama into letting him buy a bunch of stuff on her Sears card.
Okay.
And he bought a bunch of woodworking tools, bandsaw, sanders, table saw, miter saw, all this different. And the first thing he did was he went and bought a couple of sheets of plywood, and he had drawn out by hand a stencil of some, just like an old-fashioned crank, you know, that in
ice
the kitchen.
Cream?
Yeah, like old ice cream thing.
And, or butter churner.
Or butter churner, whatever it was. And he cut that out in plywood and stained it, drilled a little hole in it, and then put a clock mechanism behind it and put the numbers around it. And so, and he made them. He made some look like coffee cups. He made some look like this and this and this, and he took them to this. You know, they're growing up on Toledo Bend. You know, marinas. Every marina had a restaurant or something in it, and he took them to a couple of those marinas, and they'd hang them up on the wall, and they'd call him when they sold one.
How cool!
And man, he paid his mama back in no time at all. I mean,
for bandsaws and jigsaws.
Yeah, I mean, I remember if he didn't pay her back, it was going to be like $11 a month. Man, that was going to be hard money. That's a lot of money to make. But he did it, and you know, Lewis was always so good at woodworking. So is it any surprise that today he owns a company that builds the absolute Cadillacs of deer stands?
Deer stands, I thought that was the guy that did.
The company's called Brink Built. Look that up. Brink Built. And I'll send you a bill, Lewis. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And Brink Built deer stands.
Do 30 seconds.
Yeah, he gets a whole 30 seconds. In
Brink Built.
And so, but
what's the name of the company?
Brink Built.
Brink Built.
That's right. Brink Built. We'll put a link in the comments. No, but he you know, when you have that ability, I never had the woodworking ability.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I can build some things, but it's not going to look like it should.
I don't have enough patience to measure and all that.
I think that'll fit. I think it'll fit.
Let me tell you what
But I know guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I know guys that they'll say, cut it about right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, about right there.
And then use that one to cut some more.
That's right.
Yeah,
They'll all be the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sears had a house you could order and construct yourself. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Did y'all remember that? There is one on Callion Lake.
Is there really?
And a guy from Flower Mound, Texas, I'm talking out of turn here, owned that, and he was from here originally, and I would go cut the grass for that place, and the air conditioner ran all the time, and he says, you can go in and check things if it was unlocked. And I said, that is a Sears house? He goes, yes, sir.
Wow.
And he built it on Callion Lake like in the early 60s.
Wow.
Yep. Anyway.
Bought a house off Sears.
Sears house, and it came on a truck.
I'm sure you can buy one from Temu now.
Yeah. Hey, they'll give you anything that churns or splits or cleans, or you can buy a little washer machine like that. And anything.
Right. So there you go.
That's right.
You know, when y'all get ready to rebuild, we'll get you a Temu house.
Temu.
Yeah.
And your wife can buy all the stuff offline too. And I mean, It's crazy what you can get online. Anything.
You know, I'm a huge advocate for spending my money locally.
I am too.
I try to as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And it got proven again. I had one of our customers wanted some T-shirts, and he's like, "Look, I don't have a guy. I do a lot of advertising with you. Do you mind just take that logo and make me some T-shirts?" And I was like, "Okay, what do you want to spend?" "I don't care. I just need this many shirts." Okay. So then one of his assistants called me and said, "Hey, we found a link. I'm going to send you the link." So I go online, I'll order the shirts, pay for them. But I asked for a proof before I approved printing. I'm so glad I did, because did not get the concept at all. We wanted like a red T-shirt, and then the lettering that we have is just white with a little bit of a blue shadow or background, if you will, behind a couple of the letters. They took and printed it with red on a red shirt, and the reds don't match. And so after 2 hours of calling, I finally get someone on the phone, you know, "Thank you very much for calling t-shirts.com," or whatever it was, I remember. And I explained to him, I don't need you to put your own color on it, okay? I sent you a transparent file, a transparent background. Just print that on a red T-shirt. "Okay, I will send proof, just a matter of moments. Hold to, please." You know, I get an email.
Not it.
Not it. I finally canceled it. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to someone locally. Mm-hmm. They jumped on it. They got the concept immediately. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to put this on a red. Yeah. And, you know, and it was a little bit more, not much, not much more, a little bit more, but that money's going to be local. Mm-hmm. So
and there's a girl that does great work here in town.
No, well, there's several.
Yeah,
and,
there's more than one. Yeah,
and so I'm excited. You know, I want to spend as much money as I've spent at El Dorado printing in the last few days.
Yeah,
So.
Well, Martha's really heavy on that too, being a downtown merchant.
Sure.
And you know, now she's sold to Haley, and Haley Bryant's going to have the store. But Martha's been shop local. Anything we can buy that it's in town somewhere, we'll get it in town. Yeah. We've always done that.
We needed a piece of sound equipment a while back. Jackson and I went looking for it, and he's like, "I don't know anywhere locally we can get this." I said, "Pawn shops, let's go."
Yeah.
And we hit every pawn shop in town. No one had what we wanted, what we needed.
But you could have had it.
But they could have. And so, you know, but we wanted to try to spend that money locally first. Yeah. And so I'm a big advocate of that. Boomer, we got mail.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah.
Yeah. If you've been listening, this is not a good thing usually.
Dear Sandy and Boomer, love Off the Back Porch. It's like eavesdropping on a lawn chair argument that accidentally ended up with microphones.
Yeah.
Addison and Magnolia. Dear Sandy and Boomer, I get mad when you read messages from people who take shots at y'all. I love the podcast. Sandy brings Gen X energy. Boomer brings a weather report from 1987. Beautiful balance. Jamie in El Dorado.
More like 77.
Yeah. Dear Sandy and Boomer, this podcast feels like it should be sponsored by Black Coffee and Unfinished Opinions. Mark and Smackover. Sandy and Boomer love the podcast. Sandy sounds like he still knows how to use a VCR. Boomer sounds like the guy who taught him how. Adam and Chittister. Hey guys, love the show. Off the Back Porch is what happens when two men say, hear me out on this at the same time.
But wait. Let me tell you what
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Yeah. Amber and El Dorado. Thank you, Amber, for noticing. Yeah, thank you. Sandy hosts like a guy who would use the word record when talking about music. Boomer hosts like he remembers when you could play a record backwards and get a personalized message from the devil. Maxwell and Fordyce.
You could.
I remember them days. That's right. You could.
Every preacher in America. Yeah. And if you play that record backwards, that devil music. Yeah.
Yep.
Hi, this is Satan.
Yes.
Boomer just wanted to thank you for playing the record backwards so I could talk to you for a moment.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a... you remember the church lady off Saturday Night Live, Dana Carvey, which was just some of the best comedy ever, right? So there's one time, you know, she had a special guest on, and he's like, "I'm here, you know, because we found out that if you play these records backwards, you can hear the devil." And she's like, "Oh, isn't that interesting?" You know. And so he puts this record on, he starts playing it backwards. And he's like, "Hi, this is Satan." She said, "That's him. I would know his voice anywhere." Hi, this is Satan.
Yeah, sure. She had Swaggart on there one time. They did a
Really?
Not the real Swaggart.
Okay, I was gonna say, that would surprise me.
Yeah, they did a riff on Swaggart after he got caught. Just so you like to just look at it, eh?
Oh, Jimmy, man. Dear Sandy and Boomer, my wife asked me why I watch the podcast. I told her that I came for the laughs. I stayed because I want to see who would forget what they're talking about first. Gene and Lawson.
Yeah, that's me. Thanks, Gene.
But put money on it.
Yeah, it'll be me.
Put money on it. Most times it's going to be Boomer. Sandy and Boomer, this show has a strong, we didn't plan this, but we're confident anyway energy.
There you go. See?
Frida in El Dorado.
Thank you. She noticed.
She notices, yeah. Sandy and Boomer. Sandy argues like a Gen X referee. Boomer argues like a rule book personally betrayed him.
Wow.
Ethan and Camden.
Wow.
Oh, my. Sandy and Boomer. Knowing that y'all have sponsors proves you don't need facts, just momentum. Joseph in West Crossett.
Don't need any facts.
Don't need facts.
No. Don't confuse this issue with the truth.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sandy and Boomer, we know you're a Gen Xer, and believe me, Sandy, you sound 54 until Boomer starts talking. Then you sound 34. Wow. Angela in El Dorado.
Thank you, Angela.
Wow.
Jeez.
Sandy and Boomer.
Somebody's got, eventually everybody's an old guy.
That's right.
Eventually, if you live long enough.
Stay here long enough.
Dear Sandy and Boomer, I explained your podcast like this the other day. Off the Back Porch is basically two dads leaning over the fence, except that fence is a pizza. Madison and El Dorado.
There you go.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
That's a pretty good explanation of what the show is.
That's good.
Dear Sandy and Boomer, I wish people would quit saying Boomer interrupts. He doesn't interrupt. He simply continues a story that started in another decade. Nina and Camden.
Wow.
They got it out for you, don't they?
They dogging
getting
Boomer.
you today.
Yeah, well, I think some of this stuff feeds it because, we have someone who wrote in and would say that about you, that you interrupt or whatever. And you say, because I think last week someone was like, could y'all, either one of you let the other finish a sentence without interrupting? Boomer's like, that's me, but if I don't say it right now, I won't remember later. And so I think that feeds that kind of stuff. But
we got more.
Oh, yeah, there's
All
more.
right, okay.
Dear Sandy and Boomer, my husband and I were talking the other day about how people say they don't know how to describe your podcast. It's easy. Listening feels like being offered advice you didn't ask for, but kind of needed. Audrey and Falk.
See there?
Yeah.
She had a epiphany.
Exactly, Audrey. You understand.
Thank you, Audrey.
You didn't ask for it, but you realized you could possibly use it.
And by the way, you're named after a hurricane. If she's not old enough to remember that.
No, probably not. Sandy and Boomer, I noticed Off the Back Porch is the only place Gen X and the Jones generation can argue without the comment section catching fire. Mike and El Dorado.
Wow.
And he's right. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what I let go a while ago? That the best music was in the 80s. I just let that go.
You just let it go?
Yeah.
Well, it's facts. We're talking about facts. That's facts.
No, don't argue with facts about facts. Because the best music is in the 70s.
I was going to say, it's hard.
It's hard to beat the 70s.
It's hard when you think back about some of that 70s music. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't compare a flock of seagulls to the Rolling Stones. You can't compare Oingo Boingo with Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
So there was great music in the 80s.
Oh, sure.
But
different era, different sounds.
Yeah, my pastor, the Right Reverend Al Green. Yeah. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
So
he rightly divides it.
Yeah,
musically.
He rightly divides the word musically. That's right. Dear Sandy and Boomer, I think Boomer brings wisdom to the podcast, albeit it's from 1975. Andrea and Prescott.
Yeah, 74, Andrea. Thank you. Is when I'm
Sandy and Boomer.
matriculated.
I'm not sure how you ended up with your own show, much less sponsors. Terry and El Dorado.
Hey, you know how we were talking about creating things a while ago from nothing? That's what this happened.
That's right.
This guy just created it.
Dear Sandy and Boomer, this show has really big, we'll fix that in post vibes. Sonia and El Dorado.
Gosh.
Sandy and Boomer, I don't always agree with you guys, but I respect how hard you commit to not backing down. Evan in Parker's Chapel.
See? They're noticing.
Dear Sandy and Boomer, I agree with the lady who said she could look at Jax all day. I could too. By the way, tell him I'm single and to accept my friend request. Kayla in Holly Springs.
Wow, Jax.
Man.
You've been hit up, baby.
Man, he listened. And after that came out last week about the woman who said, she could look at him all day, there were some other people who contacted him and said, I kind of agree with her.
Man. Check those out, though, but just be careful. Be careful.
You can tell he's Buddy Sanford's grandson. You can tell. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna put his personal business out there.
Not out on.
But I'm gonna
on
say
the air.
this: of all the girls Jack's ever dated, I never saw an ugly one.
Yeah.
I never saw him bring home an ugly one. So, if
some guys just have that knack.
If Jax wants to date you, consider yourself among the elite.
Wow.
Because he doesn't bring
don't
home
play?
He don't bring home the ugly ones. That's right. Boomer, we have some other advice that people are asking for. We'll do that. A 10-year-old actually sent us a letter, and he said, "I'm doing it from my dad's Facebook." He knows he's standing right here with me, but he told me to ask y'all.
Okay.
So it's cute, and I think it'll be fun. So let's do that, but we'll take a break first. This is Off the Back Porch, and we'll be back right after this.
I'm Dr. Steve Smart. I spent my career here in El Dorado, seeing daily the importance of a strong local hospital. I see neighbors having emergencies, families needing care, and seniors who depend on services close to home. Right now, rising costs are putting pressure on hospitals everywhere. That's why I support a 1/2 cent sales tax that creates dedicated funding for our hospital. Every dollar stays right here. Vote yes for the 1/2 cent sales tax. El Dorado deserves strong local health care.
With a name you trust, you can count on us. Glen Mechanical, plumbing, heating, and air.
For over 6 decades, Glen Mechanical has been specializing in HVAC, plumbing, and all mechanical jobs. 3 generations family-owned and operated since 1956. Glen Mechanical's business is based on relationships. They support and give back to the communities they work in. Contact them for all of your HVAC, plumbing, and mechanical needs. GlenMechanical.com.
Bad things happen, and of course, they never happen at the right time. Maybe it's just a little bump and cosmetic damage, or it's turned into a huge insurance claim and you just don't know where to go next. That's why so many of your neighbors and friends call on Cook's Body Shop in El Dorado. From the minor to the major, Cook's Body Shop is in your corner. Need someone to help you deal with insurance? Look to Cook's. Need advice on what to do next? Look to Cook's. Need a free estimate? Look to Cook's. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's.
When it comes to your family's financial future, peace of mind matters. At Harrison Financial Management, they are right here to help you plan, grow, and protect what matters most. Whether you're planning for retirement, investing wisely, or securing your family's future, they will guide you every step of the way. Harrison Financial Management, your future, their commitment.
Rated the #1 course in Arkansas by Golf Week, Mystic Creek is truly a hidden gem, complemented by a modern clubhouse, complete with panoramic views. It also features a fully stocked pro shop and Mystic Grill, serving contemporary American cuisine and Southern classics. Mystic Creek promises an unforgettable experience.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, our special guest, David Lee. David, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
You know, I'll have to go back and look, but I think you may have just passed the most appearances on this podcast.
All right.
The Johnny Carson Award.
Well, or like, you know, on SNL, when you 5 times,
you get to
become a member of the 5-time club. I think this is your 4th.
It is. I think so.
And
Did I get a free pizza or something?
You know, we can make that happen.
I love it.
We can make that happen.
We can make that happen. So, you know, I was telling you before the break, Boomer, we've got a 10-year-old who's written into us for some advice, and it's cute. And it's, Dear Sandy and Boomer, I'm using my dad's Facebook to send this message. It's okay. He knows I am. He is here with me. He said I should ask you two for advice. I'm 10 years old, and my daddy said when I saved enough money, I could buy anything I wanted with it. All my life, I've wanted a monkey. I have saved $14. I asked Daddy if I could buy a pet monkey, and he said no, because I wouldn't know how to take care of it. My mom is the fussy type. You know, everything has to be just so. Do you know anyone who has a pet monkey that could give me some advice? Signed, wants a monkey. Well,
we don't know anyone that has
I don't know anyone who currently has a pet monkey. My sister had one recently.
Like an organ grinder?
A little bitty monkey, yeah. She had one recently, and she had it for about 2 weeks and said, other than her third husband, that was the worst mistake she'd ever made in her life.
Yeah, they're crazy.
And she said, you can't keep diapers on them, number one. And so the monkey likes to do number two in the diaper and then take it off
and fling it.
So your dad's probably right in this one. Not probably. Your dad's right. I mean,
I don't think you can legally own a monkey.
Probably not.
So there are people that live here that own monkeys.
Okay.
I've seen them in Walmart, and I gave them the look of, if you get within 5 feet of me, we're going to have some
With
problems.
their monkey?
Yes.
Oh,
that's their service monkey.
Yeah.
You know
so
what?
I have to agree.
A monkey.
Nope.
A service
Nope.
monkey.
Nope. No, sir.
I have to agree with the young lady's dad. There's two things on earth that just don't belong here: clowns and monkeys. Yeah, and there's no sense for them at all. Like monkeys are evil. Like I was traumatized with monkeys with Wizard of Oz when them things had wings. And then Planet of the Apes. I hated that daggum show as a kid. Traumatized me. So no, I would say absolutely not. Zero monkeys. Period.
Tell us how you feel, David.
I am telling you. And clowns, no.
We'll lean you back on a couch. And
that's right. No, I have a very strong opinion.
You got clown-a-damn phobia.
I would rather fight a 20-foot rattlesnake
Then
than deal with
a
a monkey.
No.
I'm not dealing with that. No.
We have had over the years. We have had affinity for monkeys and different.
I love monkeys.
different occasions and the picture of the mind. You can do that on radio, especially get people to imagine something. And we really tried and did
we
that.
did.
Yeah, but
we
anyway.
Did. Sergeant Major Cal McCracken had pet monkeys.
Yeah.
And one of them was JJ. And he was always opening the refrigerator.
And drinking beer.
And eating
wine,
cake.
Eating cake.
Yeah.
Anyway. and he was the rebel rouser, and he would induce the other monkeys to be bad.
Yeah. And Sergeant Cal would have to go home and discipline them by spanking a monkey.
Yes.
So Jerry Clower has a funny story about a monkey that climbed trees and blasted one of the dogs. That's a pretty good story. Y'all should look that up.
Gave that monkey a pistol and let it come.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
Boom! Graveyard dead. Yeah.
I've got a true story, and I think I've told you
have.
about my brother-in-law, and it's a long story, but at any rate, he was young, and they used to go to walk through the woods. There was just a trail to these people's house, and they would buy vegetables from him, whatever. But they had a pet chimpanzee.
No.
They had a pet chimpanzee, and when he was there one day, he heard a shotgun blast, and the chimpanzee ran out the front door, and Mama blasted him another time with the other barrel of the shotgun. And she said, "I told you, if that monkey broke any more of my china, I was going to shoot him." And Gary my brother-in-law was just a little bitty at the time. He says, that monkey ran up in the tree and got out on a limb, and he died like a cowboy. He said, he grabbed his chest and fell over backwards.
Oh, my gosh.
And he died. And so Mo, to this day, will say, I will shoot a monkey.
Yeah.
I do not like monkeys.
No.
He said people could pay me, and I would give the money back just so I could shoot a monkey.
Wow.
He was traumatized.
I guess so.
Time.
All right, next letter. Dear Sandy and Boomer, I'm writing because I've heard you two give advice with absolutely no hesitation, and frankly, that's the kind of energy I need right now. Also, you are both old enough that something similar may have happened to you. That is my problem, although yours was probably during the Carter administration. Now, hold on a minute.
That's not you.
Maybe his was. Mine was in the Reagan era. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I was married and had kids when Carter was president.
Here's my issue. I've been in my job for 8 years. I'm good at it. I'm dependable. I show up early. I leave late. And once fix the printer, even though no one asked me to. Last week, my boss promoted a guy who's been here 6 months and just recently stopped asking where the bathroom is. When I brought it up to my boss, he said I should, quote, keep doing what I'm doing and trust the process, end quote. I don't know what the process is he's talking about, but it feels suspiciously like waiting until I give up. Should I stay loyal and patient, like my parents would say, or should I burn this place down professionally and start fresh? I need advice from two men who've definitely seen loyalty not pay off at least once. Sincerely, passed over and tired.
That's a tricky one without knowing a lot about what the business is and what your knowledge is. If it's knowledge and things that you can do to create or to build or to help them within their process that you can transfer somewhere else, maybe it's time to move on.
You know,
I mean, the average time that people stay at jobs now is 3 years or less. And so, if you're looking if you don't feel like you're being treated correctly, just wait it out maybe 6 months. And if nothing happens, then kick it into gear.
A couple of years ago, I'd have given a different answer.
Yeah.
I would have said, trust the process.
Yeah.
What you do will shine.
Yeah.
Cream comes to the top.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer believe that.
Not always true.
I no longer believe that. Because one whisper campaign from one person who has it in for you can do a person in. And wreck a 20-year friendship on top of it. So burn it down. Not literally.
Yeah,
not
literally.
physically.
Yeah, just move on.
Now, maybe go to your boss and say, you've got 6 months. 6 months from today, if you haven't found a way that I could improve my status in this company, I'm going to have to find something else to do because I feel like I'm being passed over for the good old boy system or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I don't put their names in here, but obviously it comes to our Facebook page, so I know who they are. This is a female, and she got passed over for a male. I could see an issue there. She's been there 8 years. Now, this guy may have come in with 25 years experience.
Don't know.
I don't know that, but I think there's nothing wrong with setting the target and telling your boss, hey, look, here's how I really feel. And I don't think I'm going to stick around if this is how it's going to be.
Yeah, that's the way it's going to be. My daughter, my oldest daughter, at a job that she had, she was training guys with degrees from SMU how to do the job, and was passed over several times because those guys had an MBA from SMU.
Yeah.
So, but she had the knowledge and she was training them in that job. So she felt it was time to move on, and she did, and she improved herself. So, like you say, if you've got the skills and the expertise that they're using, see if it's marketable somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah. So, hopefully passed over and tired, that helps. So,
and that's
I will say this: if you died today, they would probably mourn and grieve, but they'd have somebody in that position no time at all.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
So, dear Sandy and Boomer, I'm asking for advice because you both seem very confident when giving it. That's your fault.
That is, because we do it off the cuff.
I assume that comes from age. Thanks. Also, I've listened to the podcast and noticed neither of you backs down, which tells me you must be right a lot.
Wow.
Or at least loud.
Yeah. Say it louder.
My problem was with my neighbor. He's retired, always home, and has appointed himself the unofficial mayor of the street. He comments on my trash can placement, my grass height, and once asked me why my porch light was still on at 10 p.m. I try to be polite, but I'm running out of friendly nods. I don't want a feud, but I also don't want to live under the porch surveillance for the next 20 years. How do you set boundaries with someone who clearly has nowhere else to be and nothing but time? I feel like this is something two seasoned porch veterans like you would understand deeply. And it is signed by, respectfully for now, watched from across the street.
Well, let me say this. First of all, here's an opportunity for you to fill a void that a retired person feels. That they may have been in a job for a lot of years when they were called upon to lead and do things, and they had important tasks that they did. And finally, when you retire, and I'm of that age, but I still haven't retired. I'm still doing stuff, but you don't feel as connected anymore.
Yeah.
And so he's just looking for things. He's trying to help you be better.
All of a sudden that's acceptable.
Now it's different.
Boomer used to always tell me, he said, quit trying to make me better.
Middle management. No, but it may be an opportunity for you to help an older person that's retired. But here's the deal: just don't engage. If he walks out and starts talking to you when you come home from work, or pull your phone up, just talking on your phone, said, "Okay, all right, good to see you," and just walk in. Just
sounds like
ignore
an
him.
opportunity to me too.
Yeah.
Do you do that with your neighbors? Boomer?
My neighbor and I have a koinonia. I'm telling you, we watch out for each other. Now he did pull a gun on a pizza delivery man one night.
Goodness.
Because it was late, it was in the winter, and the guy.
Yeah, your neighbor pulled a gun on me one night too, and I told him, I said, that'd be the last time you do that.
Oh my gosh.
He's packing all the time, and he's watching out for our houses.
Sure.
Because we do have people walking through. We have a place that used to be an alley between our houses, and it goes back to an apartment complex. And we live on the edge of right
from
and
historic to hood. It's real close.
It's
like a couple driveways away.
On the edge of right and wrong. So we do have transient people come through, sometimes walking through between our houses.
Okay.
So he's a little alarmist. And then there was that one time when his 16-year-old daughter was suntanning in the backyard, and dude across the way was like standing up on his porch so he could see, and neighbor just happened to walk out with an Uzi.
Oh, goodness gracious!
and didn't point it at him. That's
key.
That's key. You can't point a gun at somebody because they can call the police and say that's terroristic threatening. So, but he let the guy know that don't be looking at my daughter in her bikini. Said she is only 15. She is not a grown woman. So anyway,
I coached that little girl in baseball.
Yeah.
Great kid too.
She is a good kid.
Great kid. And her brother, he's a fabulous young man.
Totally opposite personalities.
Yes, they are totally opposite personalities.
And the older brother,
but boy, he loves her. Man, he was always. So we kept them for a week one time while their parents were celebrating their anniversary. Went out of town, and we kept them for a week. And man, we wouldn't have known that little girl was there because he catered to her every need. He loved the little sister, man. I mean, loved her.
And there were times when they would call me and said, "Can they meet you at home and stay at your house till we get off work?" I said, "Yeah, and so great kids."
It's good when you have that kind of house. Mine was that. There was a little girl who used to live across the street, and her mom and I worked for competing companies, and her mom would say, could she, when she gets off the bus, can she come to you? I was, yeah, absolutely. And it got to the point to where that little girl just walked in the house. She knew where the snacks were. She knew where the cold drinks were. She didn't have to ask.
She'd sit down and watch TV.
She'd sit down and watch cartoons until her mama got home. And that little girl is now a grown woman with a child of her own. And that little boy of hers, he loves me, man. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Sandy," every time he sees me. And I teach him how to fist bump, how to, how you got to blow it up.
You got to blow it up, man.
So I have some advice for Watch From Across the Street. I'll give it when we come back. How about that? Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
32 years ago, a young Robert Rushing began his life of public service joining the El Dorado Fire Department. While saving lives during the day, Robert Rushing put himself through college and law school at night, eventually opening a law practice in 2010 to protect and serve the rights of people in South Arkansas. By the way, he was still working as a fireman at the time. And after 23 years of service, Robert Rushing answered the call again and was elected as city attorney. Today, Robert Rushing still has that desire to serve. Re-elect Robert Rushing as El Dorado city attorney.
So you guys are just like State Farm, right?
We barely cover boats by the dock.
Why barely?
You get what you pay for. Our bike coverage leaves out a lot.
I don't have a bike.
Can we just get some momentum on the song? Oh, I'm going. There's damage to your home on this block. We won't make things right, cause filing a claim is tough.
Can't I just do it in an app or call an agent?
No luck. Here comes the best part. Whoa, we're halfway there. Wow, you're living on a prayer. Oh, my butt cheek.
Should have gone with State Farm.
Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com.
Anyone can be so curious.
Get ready to see the world more curiously because Blippi is coming to your hometown. The Be Like Blippi Tour. Join Blippi and Mika live on stage for a one-of-a-kind interactive adventure that inspires kids to move like, play like, and explore just like Blippi. Saturday, April 11th, the First Financial Music Hall in El Dorado. Tickets are on sale now at eldomad.com. Break out your orange Blippi glasses for an unforgettable experience that encourages kids to be like Blippi.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And our special guest this week, David Lee. David, thank you again for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And I don't think I've said it yet today. David is the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club. I'm sure everyone knows that.
But we can't just assume that.
You can't just assume that. So
what assuming does.
I know what assuming does.
That's right.
Makes an ass out of you and Boomer. So...
Thank you. Because I did say I was the guy that was the hat, the blank hat.
Last week, yeah.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
you were the
I was numbnuts.
numbskull.
And you were ass hat. That's
Okay,
right. Yeah. I know you teach Sunday school. You can't say those things. But
Well, I choose not to. In an open. Anyway, whatever. I said it. There you go.
So, we recently, before the break, we read the letter from the lady who says, hey, I've got a neighbor across the street and he's retired and he's talks about when my porch light's on and where my trash cans are placed.
He's looking out for you.
And all. And I had some advice. And first of all, her letter was signed, watched from across the street. So watched, first of all, I want to say you're correct to come to us. Because between Boomer and I, we've logged enough porch hours to deserve either a small pension or a commemorative mug or something, Here's the truth. Retired neighbors, they don't want power. They want purpose. He wants to be important to someone. Not important to everyone. He just wants to be important to someone. So you have two options. I mean, the first option is friendliness. Always wave.
Yeah, wave at him.
Wave at him. But ask him a question he can't answer real quickly. Like, do you think it's best to cut my grass at 4 inches or 4.5? And then walk off.
He'll be doing a diatribe.
I mean, listen.
A dissertation.
He'll be the one over there with a tape measure in your yard. Be like, now's the time. This is it. Now's the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll give him a purpose.
That's
Yes.
right.
He'll have a reason.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Option 2 is called controlled unpredictability.
Okay.
And so here's what you do. Tonight, cut your porch light off at 9:58. Tomorrow, leave that porch light on until midnight. And do stuff.
Random.
Place your garbage can 6 feet from where you normally place it.
Okay, yeah.
Just do some random stuff like that. It'll drive him nuts.
And if your pickup is on Monday, put him out there Saturday night.
He'll never feel confident again.
No.
But I got to say that's in my neighborhood. I'll pull them through my neighborhood. I see people have their trash cans out, and I'm doing quick math in my head. I'm like, no, it's not tomorrow. Was there a holiday this week? No,
we had President's Day this week. So but I lost my train of thought. But about the grass, you're talking about the different heights of it. Your son, who's now a school teacher, when I used to cut your yard, would come out and say, "Hey, Boomer, you missed some over
Did
there."
he really?
Yes, he did. I never told you
No.
that. Right in the front yard, there were some sprigs, right up against the walkway that I had missed, and he's out here. He goes, "Hey, Boomer," he pointed at him. I mean, he was a little tyke then, He was
he's 7 or 8 years old.
He was still a kid.
Oh wow, I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, but my neighbor across the street, sweet person, and I've had single women living in the house across from me since Martha and I got married. We've had a single woman, except one small time we had the director of the boys club in his family that lived there. So now the light is a watch light. So whenever it comes on, that means something's happened.
Somebody's
a dog
walked
or a
through the
cat
yard
or
or something.
someone.
Yeah.
So my bedroom faces the front. So if it lights up in my bedroom from the watch light, I'm going, do I need to get up? So then if I hear one of the little yap dogs start barking, then I'll get up and look out So
talking about lights outside, and I don't want to give away exactly where I live, but there was some new construction behind my house, and they put up some big lights to light up their parking lot.
Yeah, light towers.
And the problem is that 2 of those lights shone right into my backyard, and I mean like noonday.
Like lit it up.
Lit it
like
up.
searchlights lights.
Yeah, in the house, you could walk past that. It was the boys' room. And you could walk past their room at 10 o'clock at night and be like,
wasn't it that big window?
Yeah, the one that has a big window.
Yeah.
And so, I reached out to him a couple of times. Hey, maybe re-aim those lights, and
nothing.
So I called Entergy and said, hey, here's the deal. And a guy from Entergy called me and he said, can you take a little video of that tonight and just send it to me? Gave me an email address. So I did. And immediately when I sent it to him, he sent back and he's like, oh, dear Lord, we'll be there tomorrow.
Was it on their service?
No, it belonged to the property that was just constructed behind us. But evidently Entergy has some say-so over that.
Okay.
And so Entergy came out there and re-aimed those lights. Yeah. Because man, it was bad.
Yeah, especially that big picture window.
Yeah.
It'd be like a Christmas Vacation where the people next door and anyway.
So going back to this, I just want to say to the person who wrote from watched across the street, whatever you do, never confront him directly. Don't confront him. I mean, that only activates what the younger kids call final boss version. Of the game, and so don't confront him. Give him a reason, give him purpose. Here's another thing: tell him, hey, have you noticed somebody creeping around at that house next door?
There you go.
And all of a sudden, he won't care what happens at your house. He's going to be on patrol.
Yeah, he'll be on guard.
He'll be out there in a pair of army boots and a hard hat, and a pair of boxers with a rifle on his shoulder. I mean, just give him something else to do.
Marching back and forth.
Yeah,
just a team of the unknown soldiers.
Remember this: you do not win a war against a man who has nowhere to be.
Yeah, there you go.
So stay strong, keep waving, cut your yard.
Yeah,
that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, or let him cut it. Say, no, I just wish I had someone to do my yard for me.
And if it's the other thing, Boomer. If he ever says, "I don't mean to bother you," he absolutely means to bother you. 100% means to bother you. So. Just remember that's part of the...
that was kind of the creepy lady on Bewitched across the street.
Oh, gosh, I forgot about her. I loved Bewitched. Bewitched was a great show.
That's another show.
Yeah, that was another show. Incidentally,
I Dream of Jeannie. That was 70s for sure.
Did y'all see that Coach Chris Hill has tendered his resignation at El Dorado High School?
I did see that.
And that was a story we broke here at SouthArkansasNow.com.
Going to Alabama, right?
Yeah, going to Mars Hill Bible School in Alabama. And a very storied program.
Okay.
I think Mars Hill in the last 10 years has been in 6 state finals.
Is he going as the head coach?
Football coach? Yeah.
Goodness.
They've been in 6 state championships in football, and they've won 4 of them. And the last 2 back to back.
Okay.
Their coach is going to another school. No, their coach is going to another school in Alabama, and he's replacing basically the Bear Bryant of high school football. So that guy was coached there for like 52 years, went to 31 state championship games, and this guy's going to replace him. And
Good luck.
That's not an enviable position. But
that's like the guy after Saban or Bear Bryant.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly. Or follow up Scott Reed.
Yeah,
that's not. I wouldn't want to be the guy that follows Scott Reed.
Yeah,
and
so we're looking again now.
Yeah, we're looking again, and I talked to some administrators inside the El Dorado School District based on the condition of anonymity. But they told me, they said, we've already put together a search committee. We've already reached out.
It's time.
And they said there's some really, really good coaches out there. And if they have any desire to be an El Dorado Wildcat, we want them. And, I noticed someone had shared that post that we made yesterday about it from our news site. And they said, man, we've got so much talent in 7th and 8th grade right now. And they are right. I've watched these younger kids. Man, we've got a plethora of talent coming up. Oh, gosh,
that's great. So the next 3 or 4 years
we should be solid, you know. But you got to get a coach who cares about those, those 7th and 8th graders. And but, I'm going to say this. There's one thing you can say about it. So we all know Scott Perry, Coach Scott Perry. I think he's been the 8th grade football coach since Jesus was a boy. I mean, when you get that kind of longevity from a coach, you get, he's not coming in and reinventing the wheel. He already has a system, and he's beating it into these kids, the very basics. And that helps when they get to high school if they know those basics. So years ago, El Dorado High School had a baseball coach who came and met with some of us coaches at the boys club, and he said, here's what I need you teaching kids, because I'm getting kids who don't know how to grip a baseball, who don't know how to pitch. You know, you've got one pitch, you know, some of you guys have one pitcher on your team, and that's the only one you're worried about. He said, I need you developing pitchers. He said, any kid who says, I want to be catcher, put them behind the plate.
Yeah. Buy the equipment.
You know, I've always said, if you want your kid to get a baseball scholarship, teach them to be a switch-hitting catcher.
Oh, my.
Yeah. That is a guaranteed baseball scholarship.
Yeah.
Now, also, anyone who tells you, yeah, my son's getting a full ride in baseball, it's a lie.
That's a lie.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, they only got
11.3. 11.3. Now, I think that changed this year.
Yeah.
I think this year, Division I NCAA baseball, you can have 25 scholarship athletes on your roster, and you have 25 full scholarships. But even then, you don't carry a 25-man. You know, you got to break some of those up. And it's why baseball is so strange. You remember everybody pitched a fit when Louisiana Tech beat Arkansas 5 or 6 years ago, and everybody was just beside themselves. How do we lose to Louisiana Tech? I'll tell you how, because baseball doesn't have scholarships like football. And so if you're a good baseball player and you don't get drafted out of high school and you choose to go to college, and you're going to get a quarter of a scholarship from Arkansas, or you're going to get a half of a scholarship from Louisiana Tech.
Or Baptist College in
Dallas
or wherever.
Otherwise, how would we ever even know who Cal State Fullerton is?
Yeah.
How would we ever know who Coastal Carolina is? How would we ever know who some of these, you know, smaller mid-major, they call colleges in baseball? We'd never even have heard of them. But, you know, there was a time where Cal State Fullerton was like, it was they used to call it MLB draft round one, because, man, everybody that played at Cal State Fullerton was getting drafted in the first round.
Right.
And so there's some, you know, there was some validity. Now, with being able to offer bigger and more scholarships, it'll probably separate the big D1s from the rest of them.
I believe that's why they did it.
I still think there's a conspiracy. I still believe there's a conspiracy in SEC baseball this year.
To let Arkansas win?
To let Arkansas win. Because I think all the coaches in the SEC have said, look, DVH is never going to retire until we get him a natty.
Let him get it.
Let's get him a national championship, and then he'll retire. So we're tired of seeing him come into Hoover into the SEC tournament every year with his team all banged up and beat up, because they had a grind out schedule. You remember 2 years ago they played? I think they had
all in a row,
5 series in a row where they were playing someone who was in the top 5. Every series.
LSU,
Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. You know, I mean,
all in a row.
And so
3-game weekend series.
I don't remember now who all's not on their schedule, but I believe as far as baseball goes, Texas is not on the schedule this year. Texas A&M is not on the schedule this year. Tennessee is not on the schedule this year. LSU is not on the schedule this year. And maybe Georgia is not.
It looked like it was planned.
So they got Kentucky, they got Vanderbilt, they got South Carolina.
Yeah, but Vanderbilt's
salty. Don't get me wrong.
Vandy's good.
Yeah, but listen, Vandy is not LSU.
Yeah,
I don't care what you say. No. Vandy is not LSU.
LSU's going to have that switch hitting catcher, or the guy that can drive it 400 feet.
Yeah. By the way, congratulations. Did you see what Arkansas did this past weekend? They won 3 out of 4, and the one they lost, man, was just 13 men left on base in scoring position. You're going to lose games like that.
LSU big dog hit it further than anybody's hit it before. This past weekend, anyway.
My Longhorns are going to be good this year.
Yes,
I noticed that y'all haven't mentioned them much, but that's okay.
Well, there's
I still
a reason.
love you guys. That's okay.
There's a reason.
Let me go a little bit deeper to this. You know that, and this is connected, but stay with me. The state of California, you know how many people they're losing every 2 minutes?
No, I know it's a lot, but
1.7
people every 2 minutes.
Every 2 minutes, people are moving out of California.
Goodness.
So we have an issue coming up with a tax for our hospital.
Correct.
And I saw a lot of jargon, a lot of jawing going online about, I went there and these doctors did this, and nothing is going to the doctors. This is so we can improve, buy equipment, get all the stuff for our hospital. And let me tell you right now that every child that is delivered at the hospital in El Dorado is done so at a loss.
Yeah.
we don't make enough money to break even on a child on a birth that's delivered. But
you don't want to lose the birthing.
You don't want to lose that because we're it now. But
because then you're going to Texarkana.
This way and that way. And let me tell you what's going to happen if we lose our hospital. We're going to lose Murphy USA.
I think ultimately that's exactly what happens.
Because Murphy USA cannot recruit someone with a SMU
Master's
MBA to come to El Dorado that's a young, upwardly mobile 28-year-old man with a new wife and a kid or a pregnant wife, and you tell him that we don't have a hospital in town.
Yeah. That'd be devastating.
So if you want to look like some of the other places around Arkansas, you go over in the Delta and see what it looks like over there. Just don't vote for it. But it's that important. Now, it has no sunset, and I know that's problematic. That anytime you have a tax,
answer that.
Okay,
I can answer that, and here's my answer to that. A half-cent sales tax currently is estimated to produce about $3 million a year. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you put a 20-year sunset on it. How much is $3 million a year for 20 years?
$600 million.
$60 million.
60. Yeah, 3 times 20.
$60 million. Let me ask you this. Could you build that hospital right there for $60 million? No, you could not.
No.
We can't. The budget to build the new middle school is $75,000. That's a middle school.
Not $75,000.
No, $75 million, I mean.
I was like, whoa, that's a good deal.
That's a good deal because it's big.
There you go, man.
$75 million, $77 million, something like that. It's a huge number.
That was some of those Biden numbers. 70 billion or something. It's 75 something.
Where's the kid I can kiss?
Which way do I go?
But no.
So that's a good idea.
So if you put a sunset on it even at 20 years, you still haven't raised enough money that would even build a hospital.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with taking care of a hospital. Also, and I'm not one of these who says, well, everyone else is doing it. Because
they are.
But they are.
And sometimes more than a half
Way
cent.
more than a half cent. That's right. It's still going to leave the city of El Dorado with basically a lower tax rate than a huge portion of South Arkansas. And me personally, I am always, if we're going to tax ourselves, let's do it through a sales tax.
Yeah.
Because it is the most fair tax.
Yeah, it comes across fairly.
And because it's based on consumption. And because if you do it on property tax, then only those of us who own a home, our business, our own property, are the ones paying it.
Yeah.
And
that's unfair.
That's unfair.
Well, let me tell you right now that there are 2 things that I'm going to specialists for, and one of them is in Benton, one of them is in Little Rock. So over the past 6 months, I have probably made 15 or 20 trips to Little Rock. So if you want to go to Little Rock
for everything,
yeah,
don't vote for the tax. And I'm saying it negatively, and if you've got reason to not believe that, call us or send us a message, and we'll debate that with you over the air or whatever. But it's going to be a good thing, and like Sandy, he broke it down to the brass tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's only $60 million. You can't build another hospital.
You couldn't build a hospital for $60 million. I'm sorry, you can't. And that's. I'm reminded. So
I got way off of football, but also to recruit a top-notch coach.
Yeah, right.
You have to have an infrastructure.
You have to have things that are willing to.
If there's a young coach, there's a young Saban-esque.
Yeah.
Better yet, there's a young Scott Reed type coach out there that you want to get.
Yeah.
And again, has kids. You're not going to recruit him to a town that doesn't have a hospital.
No.
Or even anywhere around.
Right.
Even better.
Yeah,
right?
you can't get them to there's not one within an hour and a half.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
that's just going to be tough. Yeah. But let me go here. Years and years and years ago, I was running a group of radio stations in Texas, and the local school board there said, we need to build a new high school, and we're going to put a bond out for the voters to vote on, and it's going to cost us $53 million to build this high school. Now, this was in like 99 or 2000. The man who owned the bank, the biggest bank in the county, calls me one day and he said, hey, if I come down there, I want you to put me in front of a microphone and I want you to time how long I talk, and I want you to charge me for every minute I'm on the radio. And I said, okay. So he comes down and he sits down in front of a microphone, and I said, Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this programming to bring you a message from, and I said his name, CEO of such and such bank. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know me. He said, when my daddy started this bank back in 1909, he was loaning money out of his pocket to get this bank started. And today we're worth
yada yada,
whatever. He said, I understand a bunch of you don't know how much $53 million is. I do. He said, to some of you, 10 million and 53 million might as well be the same thing. You're never going to see either one of them. I do know how much 53 million is. And I'm telling you right now, I could build that school for $37 million. And that was basically his message. That thing went down in flames. The voter said, nope, because said he could build it for $37 million. So the school board said, okay. You're right. There may be a few things we could do a little differently. And so they went back to the drawing board and said, okay, we've got it. $48 million. He calls me. He says, Sandy,
same thing.
I'm coming down to there. I said, come on. Interrupt the program. He said, I appreciate what you've done. He said, you're right. There was some fluff in there that you needed to get rid of, but you didn't find enough of it. I could build that school for $37 million. It went down in flames again. And I'm talking about like 80-20.
Oh, goodness.
Going down. And, then they played the guilt game. Well, I guess y'all don't want a school. Y'all don't want a good school system.
Exactly.
I guess the children aren't important.
Yeah.
Well, I was
put them in cages.
I went to a school board meeting one night, and the school board president of that little school district, she said, well, I guess we could take out this ag stuff. She said, they like being outside anyway. And I was like, wow. If that gets out, you're doomed. You're done. I mean, not only y'all going to lose this
country.
In the great state of Texas, you don't do that.
They're going to recall you personally. And there was just, they had things on there like there was some cinder block buildings for concession stands, for example, that were like $80 a square foot in 1999, and they're like, no, there's no reason, I mean, 10 roofs and cinder blocks, and you're talking about $80 a square foot? No. And so that one went down in flames. So they come back and they said, okay, we've cut it to what we truly believe, $41.5 million. And he called me, he said, I'm going to come down there. So he comes down there and said, ladies and gentlemen, I still contend I could build that school for $37 million. He said, and it would be nice and it would be up to date. I'm not talking about cheap, and I'm not talking about bare bones. I'm talking about $37 million. I could build a nice school.
Why did they say, okay, go ahead?
He said, but I've considered it. He said, I've looked at the plans. I've been involved in the meetings. He said, I feel comfortable voting yes at $41.5 million. Thing passed like 94-6.
Wow.
So obviously his
he just talked to people in a way that made sense.
Yeah.
He talked to people in plain English terms. Here's the deal. Which I think, I said all that to say, that's what Steve Smart's been doing. Steve Smart has, first of all, not wavered or shied away from any criticism or any question. He has stood right in front of people and said, ask away. And he has been able to answer. And who better to know? So just like this guy, he knew what $53 million was, right? And he knew that $16 million of that was something else. And he could speak to the people, and people trusted his opinion. Well, guess what? I trust Steve Smart.
I do too.
I trust his opinion. And when he tells me this is the answer, and not just him, but look who else was involved in that committee. I don't care about the administration at the hospital. You can always bitch and complain about the administration at any hospital in America. I don't care, okay? Most people don't go to the hospital to have a good interaction anyway. It's like going to the police station. You don't go there and say, man, I just had the best time down there at the sheriff's office.
They are so much fun.
Most dentists, people don't leave the dentist smiling for a reason. It's just not a place that's built for a great interaction. Yeah, but my daddy went down there and they messed him up. All that aside. All that aside.
And that's what I was reading.
For every one of those stories, for every one of those, there are 10 who walked out of there that they thought would never live. I have one of those in my family. They were going to life flight him to Children's. He walked out of that hospital. It was just a few hours later. Boomer is one of them. I sat at his bedside for 3 days, and I'm not saying that to say, oh, great job, Sandy, what a good friend. I sat there for 3 days because I thought it was the last 3 I was ever going to see this man alive. I truly did. And when he sat up in the bed and started calling everybody to dinner, I was like, hey, y'all, mama said, come on, it's time to eat. And his daughter was crying, and she said, he's seeing his mama. And, you know, it's the marriage supper of the lamb, you know. I mean, it was, you know, she was, and she had every reason to be.
Sure.
But one doctor came in there, and he went to slinging notes and hollering out orders and changing this and changing that. I'm watching. He has a tube that's come out of him that's just dumping out bile, right? And this thing's filling up constantly. Just the most grotesque looking stuff that come out of a human body. And all of a sudden, it went clear, and all of his little bags that were filling up with glow-in-the-dark orange pee were becoming clear. His kidney started working again. He was in his right mind. He wakes up and he says, looks at Martha and says, Mom, am I sick? And she's like, yeah, Daddy, we nearly lost you. You know, we nearly lost you. So you can tell me about all the bad things that's happened. I know. I've had some people that went in and they died there. That's what happens at hospitals, okay?
That's what happens.
I can also tell you this. I've had 2 children there, and I've had 6 kids, right? So I've kind of know a little something about what to expect when you're having kids. I've never been treated as well as we were treated there when we had kids at what then was whatever we called it.
You know, and I've got 10 grands, and 7 of them were all born there.
Yeah.
And without any complications. So it's something we've got to have. I know we're getting on our soapbox, but it's a good cause, and it has to pass.
My other thing is, and I get it, there's people who are like, well, who's going to be in charge of that money? It's going to the city of El Dorado, and I understand. There are some questions about transparency and all. But guess what? That's up to you, the voter.
Yeah.
If you keep voting for people if you hold your nose and say it's the better of 2 terrible options, then you're going to get the better of 2 terrible options. But one reason that you're getting terrible options is because nobody wants that job.
David Duke or Edwin Edwards.
Good gosh.
When I lived in Louisiana.
You know, there was a real push, and again, I'm not saying this to say, man, Sandy, there was a real push back in the summer for people trying to recruit me to run for mayor. Boomer knew this. There was a group of people, business people, who come and saw me and said, hey, we want you to run for mayor. And I told them flat out, I will not run for mayor. And one of them says,
not.
One of them says, why? I said, because I would win, and I don't want that job. I go to city council meetings. I've been a part of City Hall when I was chairman of the Parks Commission for 7 years. No, thank you. Number one, that job doesn't pay enough.
Thankless job.
It's a $70,000 a year job, and I wouldn't care if it was $170,000. That's not enough for that job. To deal with the bickering and the bitching and the complaining, and nothing you ever do is right, and everyone thinks you're a crook, and everyone thinks you're a thief. And it's from Antonin Scalia, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. A misguided conscience could possibly be worse than having none at all. And I said, I thought about this. I wrote out, and let me add, negativity and criticism is not an alternative to finding solutions to real problems. And that's what I hear a lot of from the people that are against the tax is negativity, not solutions.
Not solutions.
You know,
into any issue, that's usually how it happens.
That's normally how it happens, especially when they're keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
Funny story, and I think I've told you this before, Boomer, but I was working in an industry, and I'm not going to say for whom, but where we had to please the public immensely, and there was a guy that we'd done some repair work for, and he come to pick up the thing that we repaired, and it wasn't to his satisfaction. Understandable. As a matter of fact, while we're bringing it, here's what it was. While we were bringing it out to him, there was an accident, and it got damaged again, and so we've got to fix it. He goes home that night, and he gets online, and he runs us down.
Lambasting y'all.
And he uses the R word. Calls some of my...
Not unintelligent R word?
My people retards. And I get there the next morning, and I find out about it. Well, he calls and says, hey, in the thing that you have there to fix for me, I have something I need to get that's inside of that. All right, come get it. So when he gets there, I say, okay, look, it's over here in this work area, and I'll walk you over there, but stay on this side of me. And he's like, why? I said, well, evidently last night you got online and you said some things about some of my guys and you used the R word. And I said, one of my guys out here has a special needs child and she saw it and she was crying all night and he's mad. And I said, but if you stay on this side of me, I'll make sure nothing happens to you. So we walk out there in the building and man, his head's on a swivel, you know. And so we have to leave this one building, cross the parking lot, go to another building, right? And we get over there. And there are guys working everywhere, man. And, it's 15, 20 guys working, and there's sounds and all this, you know. And there's one guy that worked there that would just holler. You know, it was just kind of his stress relief. He did, oh, and, you know. So this guy's like neck deep looking in this thing for what he's looking for. And the whole time he's trying to watch over his shoulder, you know. And the old boy over here is like, he drops a hammer or whatever. Like, this guy jumps out of his skin, right?
With his pants.
And so we get back ready to walk back to the other side. I said, okay, now get on this side of me. And I can keep you safe. Oh, you better believe I was. I can keep you safe. And, man, I walk him back across there, and the whole time, man, his head's just, you know, get him in the building. And I promise you, he didn't touch the last 3 steps of those stairs getting out of there. He was gone. And I thought, that'll teach you.
No apologies, nothing.
No.
Wow.
You know, look, when you talk for a living, like I have, you're going to say stupid things. You're going to do stupid things. And more than once, I've had to apologize.
Yes. Both of us have.
We have. And there was also times where people thought I should apologize for something I had no intention of apologizing for because it was not what I said was not wrong or was not offensive. Yeah. You just chose to let it offend you. But there was a little girl one time. I used to be real bad about using the R word. I did. I thought nothing of it.
Well,
I grew up at a time
where it was used.
Well, my brother's special needs, and I never got in more fights in my life than defending my little brother, right? And but that was the word. That was how it was explained to me as a kid. What's the matter with my brother?
He's a retard.
He's retarded. Yeah, that was the question. That was the answer. That's what I was told.
That was what we called it.
Yes.
It wasn't a derogatory thing.
Right.
It's what it is. It's like, well, he has cancer. He's
his
retarded.
motor skills are retarded.
Yes. Man, special needs now is the word.
But anyway, so I use the R word a lot. Lady shows up at the radio station one day with her daughter, and her daughter's a special needs child, and this little girl had me in tears. Before all was said and done, she said, I used to like you, but you say ugly words. And I'm like, baby, what did I? She said, you said the R word. And I want you to know I'm not retarded. I am created in the image and likeness of my God. And I mean,
amen.
I apologized profusely to her.
Jumping through hoops.
And she could tell I was sincere, and she accepted my apology graciously.
Yeah.
And from then, her mom would show up at remotes and stuff, and she loved us, and I appreciated that. I appreciated also the opportunity to be able to apologize, which seems to be something we don't let people do anymore. Once they cross a line with us, we're like,
that's it, write them off, X on that person.
I'm done with that one.
Right.
You know, and I normally warn people. I've had relationships, friendships all in the past where I say, look, I know me. I've known me my entire life. Don't get to, because once I mark you off, I'm done. Okay, I'm through with you. So don't do that. You know, let's don't get to that spot. And but I have had to apologize. I said something on the radio one day about the only good cat was a dead cat.
Oh my word!
And oh my gosh, poor Amy,
goodness gracious,
who was my secretary, she took more hell for that than anybody.
Yeah,
and
because there are people that love cats.
They love cats.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't either.
I don't. You know,
I like them better than monkeys.
Yeah, better than monkeys. Thank you, David. That is.
I firmly believe that a house cat would bite you in the throat and drag your body to the floor and eat you if they were big enough.
They are scheming. Yeah, I believe that.
You know, I mean. Dogs, they say, well, dogs come from wolves. Yeah, but dogs, there's a loyalty to dogs. There's no loyalty to cats.
Yeah.
Cats think these humans are interrupting my life.
That's right.
That's how cats feel.
It's like the lady that had the python that said it lays down next to me. I said, it's measuring you.
It's measuring you.
Seeing if it can fit in his belly.
Right. That's right.
You better believe it.
That's right.
But, I've said stupid things a number of times, and I will say more stupid things in the future. The good news is now is I can edit them out most of the time.
Wow, yeah, we're not live.
Yeah, we're not live. But there will be an instance where I'll say something stupid again, and I will have to apologize.
Yeah.
I just say, let's be in a society that allows people redemption.
Yes.
Let's be a
Grace.
society. Thank you.
Yeah.
For grace was given unto you, freely. So give grace to others. But anyway, we get into a long story on that. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
32 years ago, a young Robert Rushing began his life of public service joining the El Dorado Fire Department. While saving lives during the day, Robert Rushing put himself through college and law school at night, eventually opening a law practice in 2010 to protect and serve the rights of people in South Arkansas. By the way, he was still working as a fireman at the time. And after 23 years of service, Robert Rushing answered the call again and was elected as city attorney. Today, Robert Rushing still has that desire to serve. Re-elect Robert Rushing as El Dorado City Attorney.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30 plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
Everybody loves a parade, and hilarious pizza throws parades all week long. Bring the family in for your favorites, or explore the variety that Larry's Pizza offers. Come join us at Larry's Pizza for the greatest parade ever.
I'm Dr. Steve Smart. I spent my career here in El Dorado, seeing daily the importance of a strong local hospital. I see neighbors having emergencies, families needing care, and seniors who depend on services close to home. Right now, rising costs are putting pressure on hospitals everywhere. That's why I support a 1/2 cent sales tax that creates dedicated funding for our hospital. Every dollar stays right here. Vote yes for the 1/2 cent sales tax. El Dorado deserves strong local health care.
In a strong city, trust isn't a slogan, it's the foundation. That's why Ryan Wolf is running for city attorney. Ryan is a proud Navy veteran with real-world legal experience as a paralegal and a college instructor, committed to clear, consistent legal guidance that supports our city council, city departments, and every resident of El Dorado. Focused, fair, for El Dorado. Vote Ryan Wolf for city attorney. Paid for by the committee to elect Ryan Wolf.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer and our friend David Lee, who's here with us again this week. I say again because this, I think, again, is your fourth time.
New league record.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm providing a lot of valuable input, I feel like.
Oh, of course you are.
Of course you are,
David. Now, David, I have a question for you, and,
All right.
and that is, do you look at like your Facebook memories? Some people call it time hop. They have the app time hop. Do you look at your memories
I do.
pretty often?
When it pops up.
I try to look at mine every day, just to look back. And, now I've had Facebook since like 2008. So, I mean, that's a lot of years to have memories. On this date in 2012, we lost a broadcast legend. Eddie Tarpley passed away. And, Eddie was one of those guys that would make you sick. You could just hand him any instrument, whether he's ever played it before or not, and he would just master it. Play piano, guitar, harp, a fiddle. He could play any instrument. Chandelier. We ain't got nobody play one of them.
No, couldn't afford it if we did.
Well, we needed somebody. We need some more lights around this church.
Yeah.
But he was a good friend, a very multi-talented musician, great singer, hilariously funny, and. So we lost him on this date in 2012. Then I'm looking back in Boomer this morning. I noticed on this date in 2011, here's what I posted on Facebook. So here I am in the great metropolis of Felsenthal. There's no cell signal, but Boomer just told me he has internet. Much love to my players. By the way, Boomer caught 2 fish today, and I caught none. That makes us even, since last week I caught 2 on our trip, and he caught 0.
We were bass fishing, obviously.
I guess so. We were bass fishing, yeah. on this date in 2011, this is it. My vacation begins at the end of the day. Golf and fishing. That's all I need. Golf and fishing and this lamp. That's all I need.
That's all I need.
For those of you who don't get the reference, that was Steve Martin's The Jerk.
Martin, The Jerk.
Yeah. And also on this date in 2009, Chris Ely posts on my Facebook wall, Sandy, you deserve a vacation. Call me tomorrow.
Had to be about golf.
And then on this date in 2008,
wow,
I'm excited. I'm on vacation starting today, planning to fish, play golf, and see my baby sister.
Wow.
You know what
And when did you move to El Dorado?
I moved here in 2002.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay.
Fro says now that I need more pictures for my memory for my, the thing that they play with at your funeral.
At your funeral?
He says, we can take some more pictures of you. I said, oh, thanks. At least you're planning on me, Dime.
Well, she's planning to outlive you.
Yeah, I hope she does.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Because I don't want to do without her.
Yeah,
Guys are horrible at that.
You would be terrible. You would be terrible on your own.
I would be that guy on the front porch.
Yeah, you would. You would. My wife is
tall socks and shorts. And dress
shorts.
And dress,
and dress socks.
The dress socks, tall socks, yeah.
You know what I threatened my daughter with one time when I was coaching softball? Is you remember back in the day, those coaching shorts, the 2 buttons?
Oh, yes.
Right?
With the 2 buttons up top.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You could buy those in like a size extra small.
Yes.
And you could be 700 pounds and still wear them because they
stretch. But you look like a bulldog.
She threatened my life, though. She threatened to harm me pretty bad if I did that. So
yeah, but we called them coaching shorts.
That's
what they were. I was, my wife and I were talking the other day, and I said, I ran the campaign for so-and-so before he became sheriff of such and such. And she was like, oh, yeah. And I said, so one of the first things he did was change the uniforms. I said, because up till then, all those deputies were still wearing those brown tweed polyester pants.
Oh my gosh!
With the pointy toe cowboy boots.
Yeah.
And I said, this is in Louisiana. I said it was hot.
Yeah.
And with pearl snap shirts. And, and a little old bitty badge right here, and no markings anywhere else. But that's what all the sheriff's deputies back in the day, and them cowboy hats that looked like a taco.
Yeah, they were real thin. Yeah,
and those, and now I don't want, and this is something where Chief Ricky Roberts and I agree. I don't want my police force to look like a military unit.
Yeah,
I don't like that
because that breeds contempt.
It does, and I'll just say, having been a police officer, I understand. I understand the need for so much gear, and I do.
But if you show up in riot gear or you look like a Navy SEAL, that instills some pictures in people's mind.
There's some interaction that you should expect.
Yeah.
But I actually, when I was sergeant, I had a guy one time, and I may have told this, and I apologize if I did. I walk in one day, and our shift started at 4:00 in the afternoon. I walk in to the squad room, and he has knee pads on, these armored knee pads, and he's putting on elbow pads. And I was like, what are you doing? He said, us versus them, Sarge. And I said, okay, here's what I need you to do. Have you clocked in yet? No, sir. I said, don't. Go home. What? I said, go home. Come back tomorrow with a different attitude and in uniform, and we'll talk about whether you can work a shift or not. Are you suspending me? I said, yes, I am. I'm suspending you. You're not in uniform. He files a civil service complaint, blah, blah, blah. And so we get to the hearing. Mm-hmm. Now, the board was made up of the mayor, one city council member, and another city council member. Well, one of those city council members, she had no love for Gestapo-style police. Zero. The other one, just a good common sense, level-headed guy. And when they asked me, said, why did you suspend him? I said, he was out of uniform. And I said, but even more so, here's what, he said us versus them. And I told him, look at that car out there. It doesn't say us versus them. It says to protect and serve.
Yeah.
And if you walk out of these doors with an us versus them attitude, you're not welcome to be part of my staff.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, there are people who feel that way. It's us versus them.
Yeah. Right.
And listen, that attitude a lot of times comes from interactions you've had. I get it.
Sure. Yeah.
I do understand. But if you are a public servant, remember, you are a public servant. Mm-hmm. Now, you may feel like not all the public deserves to be served, but that's not your call.
That's right.
And if you can't make that distinction, then it's probably time for you to do something else. And
it's a hard job.
It's a terrible job.
It's a hard job.
Low pay. Very few times are people going to be like, man, that cop, he's a great guy.
I love him.
I love that guy. Is for every one of those, there's somebody who says, I hate that SOB.
Yeah. So what we need is you to vote yes for the tax for the hospital. We said all that to say it again.
Yeah, I'm personally voting. I'm not going to tell anybody how to vote on that. I am voting yes. And that's probably the only thing I'm going to publicly say how I'm voting.
Yeah, because, obviously we got to remain neutral.
Well, yeah. And, so a candidate put a sign in my yard. And there have been years where I was okay with that. Mm-hmm. But given my chosen profession now, I can't do that. Right. And, I never want the accusation of, he's got their sign in his yard, so that's why he's not critical of them.
And if you have any kind of business that you would like the public to come buy something from your business in town, you got to remain neutral.
That's right.
Michael Jordan said it best back in the 80s, and early 90s, when there were groups coming out. Why aren't you saying anything about this? And why aren't you saying anything about that? And why aren't you coming after the Republicans for this? And he said, hey, Republicans buy tennis shoes too.
That's right.
And you know what?
And their kids want Michael Jordans.
I'm just telling you. Mm-hmm. And, there were people called him a sellout and an Uncle Tom and all those terrible things. But the truth of the matter was, he knew how it goes. Right. Charles Barkley said, I am not a role model.
No, he told them.
I'm not a role model.
Don't tell your kids to pattern their lives after me.
And, sure don't pattern your golf swing after him.
Oh, goodness gracious.
That's about as bad as it gets.
Oh, I'm not supposed to do that?
No. There's the problem,
maybe, maybe I need to find something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And which, by the way, when we get off the podcast here, we need to talk about golf.
Okay.
But I don't. But I can't have. So I thought my wife told this candidate they could put the sign in the yard, and so I called her and said, "Hey, did you tell them they could put it?" She's like, "No, why?" I said, "Well, there's a sign in the yard." She said, "Take it up." And so I did, and then I called the candidate and said, "Look, nothing personal, but I can't. And and they were like, "Okay, we get it," and I just honestly thought it's kind of presumptuous to come put one in my yard without asking, So I've only had one other person ever put a sign in my yard without asking, and I was proud to have their sign, and it was Matthew Shepard, and come to find out it wasn't Matthew who did it. It was some volunteers, but it was a friend of his that worked for me at the time who put it in my yard, and I was fine with that. That was back when I put signs in my yard, but I don't anymore. So,
well, if you have a public business and a news organization, you can't endorse one unless you're the Washington Post.
Well, I mean, there are instances where news organizations do endorse candidates, and I have been a part of that. We did that at Walmart on a couple of occasions. We also either endorsed or declined to endorse certain ballot initiatives, things like that. Most of the time, though, that's done with a committee. You sit the candidate down in front of 4 or 5 people who are not like-minded, and then they ask questions, and then that person leaves, and you then decide if you're going to endorse them or not. And but I have no interest in doing that. I just don't. I don't think that that's our calling.
I'm with you.
I think that we should be. I think we should. I know it's cliche because Fox News uses it. And, one thing I get a lot, people are like, well, why aren't y'all saying this? And why aren't y'all writing about that? And why aren't you asking this? That's not our vision. Our vision truly is, and again, I know it's cliche, we report, you decide. We're going to tell you what happened with zero slant, and then you decide how you feel about that.
Unless it's the hospital tax, and we would like you to vote for that.
So let me get this straight.
Yes.
I want to make sure I'm hearing you right.
Yes.
You're for the hospital.
I'm for that.
Okay.
And I endorse it as Boomer.
I'm Boomer, and I approve this message.
That's right. There you go. Paid for by the Boomer for the hospital tax.
For the hospital committee.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Chairman Boomer.
So keep them cards and letters coming, folks.
Write them all you want.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, if I read to you the mail that I cull that we get,
you ever been fired?
Yes.
And you can tell somebody
it is one of the worst feelings ever.
It is a horrible feeling. We're not firing you.
Once.
We're not firing you. We're just not going to have that position anymore. I went, you still firing me?
Yeah. Well,
because you could give me another position. But anyway, what you need to say, if you get fired, like the guy that didn't know whether he should stay or go, if you decide to go or he fires you, you said, I was looking for a job when I found this one. That's the kind of attitude you have to have. You got to move on. You told a guy he's probably 2 or 3 firings away.
I did.
And he is a very huge success.
I fired a guy one time, and listen, let me say this. I take very gravely the decision to terminate someone's employment, because you're not just affecting them.
Their family and everything.
You're affecting their family. There was a guy one time that I should have fired a year before I did, but I couldn't, because he had a bunch of kids, and I just couldn't do it. I could not make myself pull the trigger on firing that guy. And then when it finally did happen, I said, look, I should have fired you a long time ago. And to his credit, he said, you probably should have. So but
he was at home. He said he was thinking about it.
That's not the same guy, but
okay.
Yeah.
I guessed
guy, I wished I could have fired right away. But anyway, some people make it easy to fire. The guy who put his feet on my desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or tell you these aren't flip-flops.
Or the guy who wore the motorcycle boots after wearing the flip-flops up there that day. Yeah, that guy was easy to fire too. The guy who got crazy in my office that time, sexually harassed one of our clients, and I had to terminate his employment. He slapped that desk and he said, let me tell you. I said, whoa, let me tell you something. I said, you can see this hand.
You don't know what's pointed at you.
You can't see the other hand, can you?
Oh, goodness.
I said, you play crazy somewhere else. I don't play with crazy people. And I said, you got 15 minutes to clear all your crap out and get out of here.
I'm glad I wasn't there that day.
Whew. No.
I was out doing what I was supposed to be doing.
His sales manager was sitting there, and his sales manager even looked over at him and was like, oh, wow.
Wow.
And, if you ever shook hands with that guy that was sales manager, I'd have never wanted him to get his hands on me. Man, he could break my hand anytime we shook hands. And good gosh, I was like, But anyway, but I took very gravely and seriously firing employees. And so there was a guy one time, I sat him down, I said, look, this isn't working, okay? You're like having cancer in the building. Everybody here gets along. I said, when you walk out the door, people let out a sigh of relief. And so you got to go. And I said, here's the bad part. Dude, you're talented. You are smart. You are really good at what you do. And we are very fortunate to have your talent in the building, but not your attitude. And frankly, I said, you're probably 3 firings away from being the best employee someone's ever had. And I think it only took 2 more firings. And he like you said, hugely successful.
He rang me up 2 or 3 times and just...
I couldn't be gone from the station. I could not be gone from the building without there being an attempted coup. Wow. Literally.
Yeah.
And Boomer one time jumped up in the middle of a meeting and told that guy, you and you and you, and he said some other words to him, and then walked out the door. And I get back in town. I'm like, where's Boomer? They said, we think he quit.
Meeting's over.
Wow.
We think he quit. And I'm like, what do you mean quit? So I go to his house.
So I'm a salesman and an on-air person. So we're doing a remote. And so I'm inside the business, talking up my customer.
Right.
And, and so I missed that segment. Brother, he called us on the phone, wanted to know why I wasn't on the air. And he called me to task, brother. And I said, listen, it was just one spot. I'm dual things going. No, the most important thing is for you to be on the air. I said, Anyway, he's very successful.
He
today.
is,
yeah,
and he's a great guy. That's the bad part.
Yeah,
he was young, he was immature.
Yeah,
and he'll tell you that
he was just trying to.
He was trying to make his mark,
pledges, and drudge his way through the.
But again, in markets like El Dorado, Arkansas, you're not going to get a DJ who's in his 20s and he's going to be a superstar and he's going to stay here for 20 years.
Right.
You got someone who's on their way up or on their way down,
or some old dude that just lives here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Listen, I recruited Boomer. I chased after him, and
the rest is history.
It really, I mean, it's funny. It really is a God thing. Truthfully, the Civitan Club had approached me and said, "Hey, we want to put our annual auction that airs live on cable channel 13 or whatever. We want it to also go out over the radio." And we made them an offer, and they said, "Yeah, we'll do that." and Bob Parks is who I was dealing with, and
Mr. Parks.
And so I'm listening to it in the car that evening on my way home, and I need an on-air guy. I needed a just someone with a new voice on air. And I'm hearing this guy on the radio, and he's talking up the Civitan auction. And I'm like, I like this guy's voice. And he seemed to be pretty quick and witty. And so, man, I get in the house, and I run in there, and I turn the TV on real quick, and I look, and I'm like, that guy, who is that guy? So I called the Civitan auction, and I said, hey, that guy that's on TV right now, the guy who's talking right now, yeah? What's his name, Troy? Yeah, Troy what? Banjos.
I don't know.
The guy told me banjos. I said, thanks. I hang up. I pull out the phone book, and I look for banjos. I can't find any banjos in the phone book, right? That's how long ago this was. We used phone books. And so
it's 2004.
And so I called back up there. I said, that guy that's talking right now, what's his name? Troy? What's his last name? Banyos?
Burritos?
Banyos, I think. I said, that means bathroom.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe he has some Spanish heritage, you know. So I hang
Born
up.
in a bathroom, maybe.
Yeah.
I hang up. I go back to my phone book, and I'm looking. There's no Banyos in the phone book. So I call a lady from our corporate office, and I said, hey, flip over to channel 13. And she's like, yeah. I said, who's that? And she said, oh, that's Troy. That's Martha's husband. And I was like, what's the last name? Barrios. I go, look, by gosh, there's one in the phone book.
Only one.
So I call. I leave him a answering machine message, not voicemail, answering machine message back then, and just tell him to call me. So the next day, my phone rings, and he's like, man, I'm sorry, I meant to call you, and I forgot to, and this is Troy Barrios, and I meant to call you, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, man, I really want to talk to you in person. And he said, well, I have a lawn cutting business on the side. And I said, where are you? I'll come to you. He said, well, you know, if you turn in like you go into the movie theater, that first house, there's the only house over there on the right hand side. I said, yeah, the one with an in-ground pool. He said, yeah. I said, that's my house. I'll be right there. And it was my house.
I was cutting his grass.
Okay.
And it wasn't me that got the job, obviously. It was the guy that worked for me. He says, hey, there's a guy over here that needs his grass cut, and they told me at the bank. And anyway.
So I drive to my house, and I'm telling him, I said, man, I need a guy on the radio and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, are you interviewing for me for a job? And I was like, yes. And he said, well, I've never done an interview with grass clippings on my ankles. Do you mind if I come by your office in the morning? I said, that's fine. So he came by the next day. We worked out a deal. He started off part-time, just doing on-air stuff. And then he went into our sales force, and we've been besties ever since, you know. And that was 22 years ago.
22.
God, doesn't seem like that long.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But
hey, and let me tell you what's so funny about sales jobs. You got to fight and scratch and claw for accounts. Right. Sandy, one day I happened to be in the office, and he got a call, and he said, Boomer, he says, you know, I do not have time. It was a season of ads, of political ads. I don't have time to talk to this guy. Go back there and talk to him. Well, it was an agency from New York, and they wanted to do a whole program on some weight loss pills. All right, and it was like a $12,000 purchase. So my commission is immense on this. I mean, this one thing, and Sandy would do that from time to time. He would give one to so-and-so. And so, I mean, I hit a home run on this thing, and Sandy's going, well, that's one I shouldn't have given away. I should have took that call. He said, every time I have to write this check.
Man. You know, let me say this, and this is honest to God from the bottom of my heart. I love writing commission checks. Yeah. It is my favorite expense. Yeah. Jax is obviously our top seller. I love writing him commission checks. I mean, last month, what he made in commissions, pretty freaking good, you know. Last couple months especially. I mean, he's done well. I love writing commission checks. I worked for a guy that owned some radio stations, and we had a station that was an AM station, and 99% of AM radio stations by law at dark have to go to low power. They used to just cut them off. Yeah. But then they figured out at low power you could still broadcast something, you know, if you wanted to. Yeah, we barely covered the parking lot, you know. The other thing about AM radio, and we have people out there like, what? AM radio? Yeah. The other thing about AM radio is the lower you are on the dial, the better the signal. That's why you could pick up KWKH
something, wasn't it?
Well, no, 710 kill. Just pick it up in Mexico City,
WLS in Chicago.
Yeah, WLS
in Morgan City,
or WNO in New Orleans.
WNO.
Pick those up all across America.
I've heard WBAP before from Dallas.
Yes, WBAP is another one.
Can't be from Dallas. It has to be a K.
No, there are some W's
west of the Mississippi,
but they got their call letters before they switched over to the K's.
Yeah.
Or the one in St. Louis, the big AM out of St. Louis. But anyway,
WKRP.
No,
that's Cincinnati.
So we had a station that went to 36 watts at night. We were at 930 on the dial, so that's pretty low on the dial. We basically covered town. And so we decided when we go to low power, we're going to start playing Spanish music because we had a huge Spanish population there where we were. And there was a guy I went to high school with and graduated high school with that was a foreign exchange student from Mexico, and he continued to live here after high school. Got married there, or I say got married there, and he was working like just as a general laborer at like a feed store. And I went and this guy in high school was funny, and man, he could make you laugh, and he was real gregarious, and he was outgoing. And I went and said, hey, look, I want you to try out doing this radio thing. And I said, on top of that, I will pay you 20% commission on everything you sell and you collect the money for. And so, naturally in his world, he was suspicious. That's naturally who they are, right? Okay. And so he did not understand the concept of we can send them a bill. If he sold somebody an ad, he would stand there till they gave him the money. And he was nervous about taking checks. He didn't even really want checks. He wanted you to hand him cash. And so before that radio station ever started playing Spanish music, he had 1 month to prepare for it. This station that was billing $0 when we were low power, that first month was like $4,000. And it was like, oh, okay. So guess what? I had no problem writing him an $800 check on top of what we were paying him to host a show.
Right.
And and it was so funny because he would stand in the studio at night and dance while he was and hit the next song, and he was so good, man. And but the next month, when the first of the next month come around and he turned in all his orders for that month, he had $8,000 on the books. So now he's getting $1,600. He had the money. We're writing him a check. The next month, he had like $14,000.
My goodness.
This is on an AM station at 36 watts that was making $0 until then. The owner of that station calls me and is furious. Do you realize he made almost as much as you did last month? I said, yes, I do. Well, we're paying him too much. I said, Jack, 20% is 20%. No, we got to change something. We were paying him like $800 a month to do his on-air show and 20% commission. So if dude made $4,000 or $5,000 that month, guess what? He earned it.
He earned it. Yeah. He brought in the business.
And the owner was beside himself. We can't do that. I said, Jack, you understand that for every dollar you give him, you keep $4. So if he brings $5 and you give him $1, you still get 4 of them. No, we're just paying. He just had in his head, nope, paying him too much. I need you to fix that. So I put it off for a day or two, and then I walk in one day. I said, Johnny, we need to talk. Okay. And I told him what the guy said. And this guy that I went to high school with, who was my friend, looked at me and he said, Sonny Cypher, I never thought you to be a liar, but you are a liar. There is no way Mr. Jack say that. There's no way he say that. And he said, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to work for you. And he walks out the door.
Wow.
Couldn't blame him. Well, in the meantime, I had accepted a position here, and I'm finishing out my time there before I move here. And I'm gone. I go back down to that town because my family still lived there at the time. And I go down and I'm walking through the store with low prices every day. And I run into Johnny and his wife. And he walks up to me, big old tears rolling down his face. He said, Sandy, I am so sorry. You are no liar. He said, I go to, when you leave, I said, I go see Mr. Jack. He said, so I call him, he come in, I go to visit him. He said, I go see him, he want to pay me half of what he was paying me. And he said, you are no liar, Mr. Jack is a liar. And you know what? I was just so glad that at least my reputation with this one guy was, that it recovered.
Right.
And, what's so funny is that guy that owns those stations, he's badmouthed me 100 times since then. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, whatever.
Look at the fruit.
Give your best shot.
Yeah. You can say or do whatever you want to do.
Sandy tells the story of a Assembly of God preacher. Assembly of God's the pastor accepts all the bills. And
that was a United Pentecostal church. Yes.
Yeah. And he started doing good, paying the bills, and the church was growing. And the elders decided he was making too much money.
So this man was older, but he was kind of a mentor to me. I loved this guy. Now, I couldn't say that about a whole lot of pastors in the United Pentecostal Church because our beliefs were different. And, they have every right to be as dogmatic about theirs as I do about mine. But this guy was just, man, to meet him was to know a guy who loved people, right? And he told me, he said, I had heard through the grapevine they were having some trouble at the church. And I ran into him one day and I said, brother, what happened? He said, Sandy, it's not about money. He said, they're using money, but it's about power. He said, so the thing has always been is I get 50% of whatever hits an offering plate. Sunday school, missions, regular tithe and offering, I get 50%. He said, the first year I was pastor.
But he pays the bills.
Well,
correct?
Or no.
Okay.
He said, the first year I was pastor of that church, he said, I made $1,500.
In a year?
In a year. And he said, and out of my $1,500, I paid the light bill, the water bill, the gas bill at the parsonage.
Oh, okay.
And he said, my wife made more peanut brittle than you can even imagine. And he said, the next year I made $30,000. And he said, and that was great. And he said, but that was 20 years ago. And he said, yeah, last year I made almost $700,000. But this church had exploded. I mean, this church was huge. I made almost $700,000, and the deacons decided that was too much. And he said, I just explained to him, I said, gentlemen, here's what I offer to you. Go look at your checking account from January 1st of this year to December 31st, and you'll see that you will have all $700,000 of your $700,000. He said, the church note, the insurance, that new parking lot, the lights for the church, the parsonage, the insurance for the parsonage, the insurance for the church, that new van, those choir robes, y'all paid for zero of those. I paid for every bit of that out of my pocket. But that's fine. If you want
more of it,
how much do you think is fair? And one of the deacons, who's a cousin of mine, said, well, there's not a member out there who makes over $1,000 a week. And this cousin of mine was being very false about that because he was a millionaire. And he said, I just don't think you should make more than the highest paid member out there. And not a soul out there makes more than so. And he said, okay, so y'all want to pay me $52,000 a year? And he said, yeah, I think that's fair. He said, okay. And I asked him, I said, brother, how do you let that? He said, because it's not about the money. It's about power. And he said, and if I throw a fit about it, they've got power. He said, if I just give them what they want, I just took all the power out of their hands.
Yeah.
And he said, Sandy,
and no longer did he buy everything that he was paying.
Yeah, he no longer paid the insurance on the church and the and all. And he told me, he said, they're going to find out. He said, they're going to find out that about 600,000 of that 700,000 I made all went for stuff the church had to have. He said, now granted, yes. He said, we redid a parking lot. He said, you're not going to have to redo that every year. He said, yes, we bought a big mini bus.
Yeah.
And he said, we're not going to do that every year. He said, but there's always going to be something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
but boy,
comes up.
they sure did.
The boilers, the HVAC system.
HVAC, exactly.
Something, something's going to be, a new boiler at our church where we were before, $20,000.
Yep.
You know, and I found someone to do it for $14,000. And so, it's, just something like those things happens in churches.
Yeah. But he was there maybe another year.
Yeah.
And then he was gone. And
the Lord called him somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I had one pastor tell me one time, he said, man, I've made everybody in my church happy. I made some of them happy when I got there and the rest of them happy when I left.
I like that. They use that. All right.
That's a thankless job
it is.
too.
It is. Being on church staff.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can only imagine.
You see the underbelly because, everything you get is problems,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, most people don't show up to the church in the middle of the week because they want to tell you what a great job you're doing. And
we said all that to say.
Boomer said all that to say.
Vote for the tax for the hospital.
Hey, as a conservative, it's very rare that I endorse a tax. But yes, I'm voting yes on the Access for Life half-cent sales tax. So I think that does it this week, buddy.
I think so too, man. That's a good day.
I do too.
Day.
I appreciate you,
Thank
David.
you. Thank you for having me.
And again,
David's good to have.
I will repeat what my wife said.
Yes,
we love
sir.
you. We're praying for you and
Thank
Michelle
you.
and your family. And if we find out you needed something and you didn't tell us, we're going to be mad.
I promise.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Guys.
Hey, that's going to do it for us. We appreciate you. Appreciate our sponsors. Again, that lengthy group of sponsors. We appreciate each and every one of them. Until next week, God bless.
Non-stop phone calls, registered mail, repossessions, or threats of lawsuits from creditors, and it seems like no one is willing to let you hit pause and just catch your breath. You need the help of Robert Rushing and the Rushing Law Firm. Bankruptcy is not the end. It can be a chance for a fresh start. The Rushing Law Firm goes to work for you, letting you hit that pause button and start over. Call the Rushing Law Firm today at 870-875-2940 or stop by the office at 725 Northwest Avenue in El Dorado. The Rushing Law Firm.
With a history of being the voices you trust, this is Off the Back Porch.